What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for the post-match stream, day after the morning before, and it's not any less painful as it was yesterday. A 2-2 draw with Burnley at Turf Moor, which now is like a long line of terrible, terrible results. Obviously losing to West Ham last week. Wolves, we couldn't beat them. Those are the three teams in the relegation zone, and teams are creeping up on us down the bottom, which is really worrying, frightening, to be honest, with the games that we've got coming up. Yeah, I mean, where do we even start, man?
It's a difficult one because I think, given after West Ham, everyone was saying this guy's on his last legs. Thomas Frank, that was a horrible, horrible defeat. We all thought we were going to wake up the next morning to him being sacked. They gave him the Dortmund game, we won that, and now he's gotten this last-minute draw, which seems as though it's bought him more time. I don't think they're going to sack him, but it's kind of mind-numbing at the moment. Like, what are we supposed to be getting behind as Tottenham fans? We're seeing the football being turgid. We're seeing the results tanking. We're seeing us getting closer and closer to the relegation zone, where there seems to be no change in sight. And it's leading to... but it's weird now. We've gone from, I feel like a few weeks ago, we've gone from a fan base which was apathetic to what was going on. But all of a sudden, there's now fear, real fear creeping in to this fan base. Because we are now 8 points away from the relegation zone. We've got a horrendous run of fixtures coming up. West Ham have got momentum behind them with 2 good wins. Obviously, Tottenham have given them that. And we could be 16th by the end of today, depending on how results go. Or 15th level on points with 16th, 3 points above 17th.
Yeah, well, that game's tomorrow. So, yeah, Leeds play tomorrow. But look, we'll get into the manager situation a bit later on in the stream. Let's look back at the game yesterday, which, in my opinion, it was a game that Spurs deserved to win with the chances that we had compared to the chances that Burnley had. I think the 2 goals that Burnley scored came from completely our own doing. The first one was just a complete shit show from Vicario to Romero to Twanzebe, completely free in the box with 3 men around him. I mean, it was just a complete mess. The second one was just like another mess. Van de Ven gets turned inside out, doesn't he? And then Burnley just have multiple men in the box and no one's picking up their man. It's just like ridiculous. And look, Burnley had a few half chances apart from that, but not really. I mean, Vicario made a double save at one point during the game. But yeah, look, I thought Spurs deserved to win yesterday for all. I think we were unlucky not to win.
Unlucky not to win, I agree. Deserved to win, I don't agree. I do not agree with that assertion.
Why not?
Because I don't think we did. I don't think we were good enough to win. And I think it's not just a case of...
But if you're unlucky not to win, surely you deserve to win.
No, that's two different things. Yes, Dubravka had a great game, don't get me wrong. But the story of the game was Tottenham didn't do enough to win the game, not just because they didn't put the ball in the back of net, even though they had lots of chances. I agree with that. But the story of the game wasn't a rampant Tottenham side who had the game in the palm of their hand. That wasn't what happened.
Yeah, but you could also not be unbelievable and be rampant and still deserve to win the game.
I'm not talking about that. We weren't that for sure. We had the better chances, but I don't think we deserved to win the game. I'll tell you why. In that first half, we were dominant, yes. And with the domination we had, we should have probably created more chances and maybe been a couple of goals up. I do agree with that. But at the end of the day, for the first half, 35 minutes, yeah, the football was horrible. As much as we dominated, the football was terrible. And yes, we kept Burnley at arm's length, but that's to be expected if we're being honest. But you still have to do it, and we did it. And the only time we created chances was Odegaard had a long shot, we had a free kick, and then we had 2 moments from corners, and that's fine.
We had an opening in the very first minute as well.
Yeah, which we didn't get a shot off. We had an opening, but. Yeah, we had a pullback.
Had an opening, and then Jed Spence had that shot as well, which is kind of a half chance. Yeah,
I'm saying if you're looking at the main chances we created, right, it was from 2 corners, and the first 2 chances was obviously a double save, but that led to the next corner, which we scored from. So if we scored from that corner, we're obviously probably not going to score from the next one because we didn't get that next one. So I think to say that we were look, we were good in terms of how dominant we were, and on paper, Dubravka did make 7 saves. But I think if you look deeper into it, we pretty much, the main thing was those 2 corners, and we scored from 2 of them, and one led to the other. So it's not like we were completely like all over them in that first half, chance after chance, and it could have been 3 or 4. We basically got the goal and then sat back and conceded, and that might have happened if we scored from that first corner. It's obviously we don't know what would have happened, but the logic states what changes if we score a minute earlier than we score in the minute we did. Because the corner that we missed 2 chances from led to the corner we scored from.
Yeah, look, you can hypothesize and think what's going to happen if we did this and if we did that, but the reality is we had 7 shots on target in the first half. We were putting them under pressure. There were massive parts in the first half which were, dull and boring and, not much happening in the game. But in my opinion, it was 2 poor sides going at each other yesterday. No one really stood out to have a really good performance or a good performance at all. And I say that whilst I say that I still think Spurs deserved to win the game because we were the better of the poor sides.
And again, so as I was saying, the reason why I disagree, so in that first half, 1-0 up, fine, we were dominant. But again, we scored from the corner and then sat back. I don't think 1-0 would have been massively harsh on us. I think probably going in 1-0 was fair. We then do concede that goal from moments which are absolutely ridiculous. Vicario being ridiculous, the defenders in the box losing their men. But that is Frank. Obviously, it's the defender's job to play out on the pitch. But also, Frank has been waxing lyrical about how much better we are defensively and all this stuff. And then we concede a goal like that. Second half, we had 1 chance through Solanke, which was good play from Xavi on the left, and he should have buried it, don't get me wrong. And if that goes in, it probably is a different game. But we do miss it. And then for the next half an hour, it's again absolutely turgid. And if anything, Burnley were the more likely to score in that moment. So it wasn't a massive surprise when they did. Broja, you say it was half chances. He had a 1-on-1, which forced a double save out of Vicario. That was probably the best chance of anything we did in that moment.
I would say Solanke's chance was better.
Maybe, give or take, but it was a very good chance. I think they were creating a lot of moments on the break. And if it wasn't for Broja screwing up and some last-ditch defending from Van der Ven and Romero, they could have easily created moments. And I said when in the watch long, when Laura Foster's coming on, he's a fast forward. If he gets an own goal, he's going to get his shot off, which Broja couldn't because he didn't have the pace. But all of a sudden, Foster was getting in there, and he got his obviously he got the goal again. Shambolic defending. I think that's probably the worst defending goal I've seen from Tottenham this season. Romero was a disgrace. I've watched it back. He gets done by a dummy, which, okay, that can happen. But then he's just standing there watching it all play. It was like ball watching when there's 3 free attackers in the box. Van der Ven is getting spun left and right. Danso has got 3 players to mind. And Romero's just standing there watching it. He's just not getting involved. It's like he missed the dummy. He's like, okay, I'm done now. That's my job done for the day. I'm like, what? I don't understand why he's doing that. They then get that goal. But my point is, it wasn't a massive surprise when they did get that goal. It wasn't like Tottenham were really knocking the door when they scored against run and play. That isn't what happened. When they did score, it wasn't a massive surprise. Everyone could see it coming because of how the game was going. We then, obviously, credit to the team, we rallied once we conceded and had a late flurry of chances, and we ended up getting the equaliser. But to sit here and say we're in the game state and the story of the game, that we were we had the game in the palm of our hands at any moment, we never did.
No one said that, though.
Yeah, saying we deserved the win.
We did deserve the win.
I don't think we did.
But you're going to one end of the spectrum to the other, saying that just because I say that we deserve the win, that means we were rampant and we were on top of them all game. Well, that's the first thing you said when I said we deserve the win. We weren't rampant all game, and we weren't rampant all game, and yeah, we should be. But that's a separate point altogether. I'm just saying, in a very poor performance for Spurs, for the most part, we were the better team on the day, and we should have got the victory, and we probably deserved the victory. That's all I'm saying. I think any team fighting for what we want to fight for, looking at this game, objectively, you would say we didn't deserve the win because we were the architects of our own downfall. Now, the situation we're in, we're so low down, and what do you call it? Standards are so low,
and we've been so bad this season that this game you maybe come away with thinking there's been improvements and we had more shots and we were the better team, so we deserved the win. But we didn't deserve the win. We didn't deserve. Yeah, we were the better team. We were better than Burnley. But on the game, the way the game went in the game state, we didn't deserve the win because when we did score, we lost concentration, let it slip, and then we were second best and waited till we were 2-1 down to have a go and rally. So from that point of view, we did not deserve the win.
Yeah, but if you look at it, just a bit more maybe simplistic, maybe is the word. Like, if you create the better chances in the game, if you're the better team on the day and you're unlucky not to win, then most times you probably deserve to win the game. And I think that was simply the case yesterday. And like I said, I keep reiterating the fact I don't think we were good yesterday. I don't think that yesterday showed me anything that Thomas Frank should be keeping his job. I was calling for him to be sacked at the end of the game, and I still stand by that. Obviously, he should be sacked. He's doing a terrible job at Tottenham, and I think game management yesterday was absolutely shocking. Like, how does it at 1-1? How does it take so long? Why do you wait until you're losing 2-1 to make changes in the game? It made no sense to me. Why bring on a doggy and not bring on Tell at half time? It made no sense to me. It's just like so many weird decisions from Thomas Frank. Like, he waits till 10 minutes to go to bring on Matisse Tell after everything that's been spoken about after the last week about him saying how much he trusts him. He would have started last week against Dortmund and all this kind of stuff, and waits 10 minutes to go until we're 2-1 down. I think it was shocking, the game management from Thomas Frank yesterday. But yeah, I genuinely believe we deserved to win the game yesterday, albeit it wasn't a good performance. But anyway, we can't keep going around in circles.
I just disagree.
Yeah, you disagree. Fine, that's fair enough. But like, I just don't see where we go from here, and I don't understand like how we can keep persisting with these results and this board. Like, at this point, well, it's not at this point. It's been apparent for a long time so far this season. It's just sheer incompetence from this board to let this carry on and let this keep sliding and let us get closer and closer to the relegation zone. I mean, at this point, I'm not even looking at Thomas Frank anymore. I'm looking at them. It's just like, what are they doing? What are they seeing? What are they watching?
They're looking to give it a long-term view. They've backed Frank ahead of this project, and they don't want to let it go. They also have... have to think of a big payout they'll probably have to pay if they do sack Frank. There's also no immediate kind of target right now, is there, that you can look at and think, we have to be going for him, and this is the guy we should be bringing, like an obvious target. So I understand they are in a bit of a predicament. Don't get me wrong, I think Frank is not the right guy, and I think he should be sacked. And if there was any manager worth their salt ready and waiting, I would sack him today. I would sack him yesterday, sack him last week. But I have got a tiny bit of sympathy with them. Not much, because I think they're the ones who've put us in this position. It's ultimately the buck stops with them in terms of why we are here. But the reality is we are here at this current moment. And what do we do? How do we move forward? And I do have a bit of sympathy in terms of, if you do sack Frank and put in an interim, what good does that do? And I understand that argument. Is there a real good alternative? Unless you can convince Xavi Alonso, or you want to take a risk on Xavi Hernandez, there isn't really a great alternative. Or maybe you go all out and pay a release clause to get a roll out of Bournemouth. But is that the answer right now? If you want, maybe you have to wait till the summer for good options. So I also understand that kind of predicament as well. So I don't really know what the best course of action is. All I know is Frank, for me, isn't the right guy, and he shouldn't be Tottenham manager. But what we do with that information is hard to say. I want the day to be for him to be sacked to be today. I want to hear he's been sacked and there's a plan in place. But what plan that is, I don't know. But at this point, as long as they put a plan in place and take action on it, I'm all for it, because I don't really know what exactly the best course of action would be right now for this club in terms of the next 4 months. What does the next 4 months look like? What does it look like under Thomas Frank? What does it look like under an interim? I don't know. Those are the answers to those questions. And the board are the ones who've got to make those decisions.
I think we do know what it's going to look like under Thomas Frank. It's going to probably look like much of what we've seen in the first 6 months of his tenure, to be honest. But look, we've got some updates from Fabrizio Romano, which we'll bring on the Tottenham update just after the match review. But look, in terms of the way Frank managed this game, like, do you understand many of the decisions that Thomas Frank took? Like, why did it take so long for him to make those changes in the second half? Like, why is it always so kind of... He waits so long every time. You only ever see him make those changes once we're losing. Like, he doesn't have the foresight to see it going in the wrong direction to preempt those kind of decisions. It's always after the fact.
Yeah, agreed. And he's always reacting. And Tell, I think, should have come on probably at halftime or much, much earlier. Why he waited till the 78th minute to bring him on, I have no clue. And even then, he had a chance and he could have scored. I thought Tell had a decent cameo again. Like, I don't understand what he has against him. Why is he playing Jed Spence for a whole half at left wing against Burnley away? That makes no sense to me. I know he had a decent game against Dortmund, but I said after that game, I don't want to see him at left wing against Burnley. It's not going to work in the same way. People saying, oh, Spence might have found a new position, I think it's crazy. He ain't a winger. I think it's clear for everyone to see he ain't a winger. He should never have started a wing in this kind of game. And I don't understand what Frank is seeing from that point of view and why he's so resistant to playing Tell. I think Tell could have maybe got a goal contribution if he started yesterday, given the fact he played 10 minutes and nearly scored. So for me, it's absolutely crazy why he's playing a back three against Burnley in the first place. I don't understand. I think also yesterday was very telling with Moani, I have to say. He didn't come on the pitch at all. So what that means, we'll have to wait and see between now and the end of the window. But the fact he didn't come on and, it's a Solanke play 90 minutes.
Yep.
So that goes to show...
And he brought on Scarlett ahead of him.
So that goes to show, I think... People,
I can't really complain about that because that's what I was calling for in the match preview.
I think that's very telling maybe what he thinks of Moani. I don't know why he puts him in the squad at all if he ain't going to bring him on. I think...
Just to make him sit on the bench.
I think the changes, the tactics were baffling to me. And yet again, in this game, we waited until the 5 minutes before the end to actually have a go at Burnley and actually force the issue. For that whole second half, we were toiling. We were just pensive. We were just getting caught out on the counter by Burnley, and no changes were in the offing. I didn't understand it. Everyone could see early on, make some changes. We just didn't do it.
Yeah, look, to be honest, with Thomas Frank, I back him, I don't back him to be. I back him with the Moani situation because it's something I've been calling. I think Moani has been disgraceful over the last couple of games, and he doesn't deserve to be on the pitch for us, and he makes no impact anyway. So what's the difference? So, in terms of some individual performances, I thought Odebear kind of produced for us again. Obviously, gets another goal contribution. In the first half, he was the one really looking to press the issue. Obviously, that shot from like 25 yards forced a good save out of Dubravka, and that was like a kind of catalyst to our early the pressure that we had in that first half. And it was a brilliant cross for Romero as well.
My man of the match. I thought it was excellent. Excellent again after a really good performance. After a really good performance against Dortmund on Tuesday night, I think he's followed that up with a brilliant performance against Burnley, and he's growing into the season. I think he's growing into this role in the right-hand side as well. And I thought he set up a great goal for Romero. He also set up that chance for Xavi. He also won the corner, which we ended up scoring from. And he actually, not only did he win the corner with a brilliant shot, the following corner he had a brilliant volleyed effort, which was saved by Dubravka, which led to the corner that we scored from. I think he was phenomenal. And not just that, there was a few moments he's just going past players like they're not even there. And his dribbling is much more direct. It's much more incisive. I also think he's running in behind a bit more than he was when he first joined. So I think he's really growing, and we're starting to see a real player there. And he's starting to get goal contributions as well.
It's 4 in 4 now for him.
There you go.
A goal against Aston Villa in the Cup, 2 assists against Dortmund, and an assist yesterday. So, yeah, I'm delighted with Wilson Odebear and the development that he's been showing since moving over to the right-hand side, 100%. Yeah, it was kind of like a mixed day for both Romero and Van de Ven, wasn't it? Because both of them had a hand in the goals that we conceded, but both of them end up on the score sheet once again. Both of them brilliant finishes, weren't they? Mickey Van de Ven, like you can't get more bottom corner than the way Mickey Van de Ven hit that, proper ferocity in the shot. And Romero, that was just a bullet header, no stopping that.
It was a phenomenal header. If you actually watch it, he actually stooped low and dived for it, and the way he kind of contorted his body to get the stoop so low, dive for the ball, and then somehow turn it goalwards with the power that he did to get it past Dubravka, I thought was sensational, actually. And yet again, him and Van de Ven, massive threat from set pieces, and they were a constant threat. But obviously, again, it takes Romero abandoning everything, going up front. This must be off the top of my head. This is the third goal he scored from open play in the opposition box, not just set piece, because against Newcastle he scored one from open play, one from a corner. Against West Ham, that was from open play, and now another one from open play. So this isn't him going up for a corner and scoring. This is him actively going into the box in open play when we need a goal, literally playing as a striker and getting the end of things. Maybe at this point it's happened so many times, maybe it is a tactic, but I really struggle to believe that Frank is telling Romero, you have to get into the box.
It's not just under Frank that we've seen it. We used to see this under Ange as well when we were struggling late in games. He would just like bombard his way up front. So, yeah, I don't know if it's an instruction from Frank or something, but I think it's probably something that he just does. Like he's done it under previous management. He probably tells the manager, like, if we're struggling late on game, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and try and supply for the team, and he does it regularly. So big up to Cuti Romero, but the mistake for the goal, like, it's a sloppy pass from Vicario, hit way too hard, but Romero has the quality to get that under and just get it away. You know what I mean? Like, no way it should be going under his foot like that.
Sloppy from everyone. I think Vicario makes a rushed, nervous pass with too much power on it, and Romero is too lax. Maybe he doesn't expect the power that is on it to be on it, but still, we know Romero has the ability to control that, and he miscontrols it, and he lets it go out for a throw, and that leads to a bit of momentum building for Burnley, and they ended up getting the goal. I'm sorry, you watch that goal back, the second one. I mean, it's hard to look at that and think Romero is trying his best. Honestly, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous how he just watches the whole play out as it did without getting involved. For a defender who's so proactive, who always looks to get in front of his defender and make challenges, he misses the ball, that can happen. But then he just watches things. He doesn't get bust a gut to get back in the box and defend. And he just allows Burnley an easy shot. I guarantee you, if Romero runs his arse off to get back in the box, Foster doesn't have two free shots in the area. I mean, I think it was absolutely ridiculous. And I love Romero, and I've defended him a lot, but I can't defend him with that goal. That was, I mean, look, to be fair, he recovered. You can argue he did, recover the situation. He got the goal back himself, and that's fair enough. But still,
I don't think it is fair enough.
That is a disgrace of defending from him for that second goal.
Not really fair enough, because you're recovering a situation, put us in a draw. We need to win that game. A draw's not good enough. So to concede that goal and to get it back on level terms it's not good enough. You need to keep it at level terms and go and get the winner. Like, I don't know, man. But it's worrying signs, that's for sure. Because we've seen it from Romero before in terms of when he's not putting his all in. These things can creep into his game. We've seen it time and time again in a Spurs shirt, to be honest, even more so at the back end of last season.
And Van de Ven getting spun for that goal wasn't a great sight either.
Yeah.
And that's not obviously something you associate him with in that moment. And they both looked so despondent after the game.
Yeah.
No, not surprising.
But it's a regular thing. This is what they're looking like at the end of every game right now.
Someone said,
apart from the Dortmund one.
Someone said Romero apologising after the game because he saved Frank's job. That's what he was apologising for.
When you're looking at the two midfielders, Gallagher and Bissouma, I thought Bissouma did really well in the first half, but then kind of tired in the second half and got taken off. But I'm very pleased with what I saw from him in the first half. Gallagher, on the other hand, I mean, what does he do?
Yeah,
what does he actually do? Like, he runs around a bit, puts a few challenges in, but like, I'm yet to see anything that Gallagher brings to this team, really.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to go overboard because obviously it's a second game, but he wasn't great. He was just a bit meh, wasn't he? Like nothing, didn't really offer anything apart from in the centre of the park, a few missed controls. He's obviously busy, wins fouls, he makes fouls, he wins tackles, that kind of stuff. And I thought his pressing was pretty decent. And obviously he had that one chance from the follow up from the corner, didn't he, which he missed. I think when it comes to our build up play, I think we were much more heavily reliant on Basuma than Gallagher, but Gallagher wasn't really getting involved. He wasn't able to progress the ball. I actually think saw a stat yesterday. He was one of the least progressive passes on the ball yesterday in our team. So that I think tells a story. But I think it hasn't been a great start to his Tottenham career. I think him playing in a double pivot. I'm not saying it's not his position because I hope that's what he's been brought in to do because hopefully that's kind of a role he plays. We don't really want to see him in the 10, but I think he doesn't show for the ball anywhere near enough. He doesn't look too comfortable when he's being pressed. Maybe it's just a case of he's getting into the team, understanding his role. But at the moment, he just seems a bit lost.
Yeah, well, you actually look at it with Conor Gallagher. When has he actually consistently, over the course of his career, performed really well in the 8? His best kind of periods have been in the 10 for Chelsea and for Crystal Palace. So, like, why are we sitting here thinking like he's going to be that box-to-box 8 that we all thought he was? Like, his best performances have come in the 10.
I think he's not really the 10 we want.
Yeah, that's fair enough, but we're talking about him and the player and what he's shown in his career.
I mean, when in his best season for Chelsea, he kind of played half in the 10, half in the 8.
But when he really came alive in that second half of the season, he was in the 10.
I'll have to look into it. I don't really know, to be honest. Maybe. I know he had some good performances in the 10, and I'm pretty sure he had some good performances in the 8. But I think it's true to say that his best work probably comes in the final third. That's probably true to say. I don't think he's been proven to be very effective in the middle of the pitch in that sense. He's very good at making those late runs in the box. He's very good at
but that's what we need.
Transitions and stuff like that. Now, if we can get him doing it from the 8, that would be great. But obviously, we've got Javi there. Obviously, we have heard the plan was in his first game to play him in the 10. So if that's true, maybe that goes into where Frank's head's at when it comes to him and maybe where it comes to Javi as well. Maybe we're going to start to see Javi more on the left and more Gallagher in the 10. Maybe that is going to be what it is. But when it comes to creativity, he's not that kind of 10. He's very much more like a box crasher. Yeah. And that's fine. I'm not saying it can't work, but it's also, I guess, not aesthetically pleasing, but I guess nothing about Frank Ball is.
Exactly. Just hard one to take yesterday. And as it stands, Nottingham Forest have taken the lead as well. So they're going to be going 3 points behind us.
Yeah,
which is
away at Brentford.
It's just like seems like all the results are gone against us this weekend. We can't get a win against Burnley. West Ham back-to-back wins, obviously one against us, and now Nottingham Forest are winning. It's getting scarier and scarier as each game passes.
Absolutely. Look, I'm not saying it as seriously suggesting that we will go down, but I do think that we could very easily get embroiled in a relegation battle. And I also think in 4 games' time, right now that gap is 8. All it takes is 1 loss and 1 win for West Ham, which is not inconceivable by any stretch. All of a sudden, that's 5 points. 5 points can be turned very, very quickly. Right now, the gap between Forest and West Ham is 5 points.
Look, let me put it like this. I'm going to tell you Nottingham Forest's next 4 fixtures, yeah? They're winning today against Brentford away. They might lose, they might draw, whatever. Next game, they got Palace at home. Then they got Leeds away. Then Wolves at home.
They're going to pick up more points than us.
If they end today 3 points behind us, they'll be above us in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Is that not fucking scary?
It's very scary.
Nottingham Forest. They've been in the relegation zone a lot of the season. They've been through 3 managers this season. They've currently got Sean Dyche, and they could be very realistically be above us in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think anyone saying that there's no chance we get in a relegation battle, I think they're being a bit deluded given the way we're playing and the fixtures we got coming up. I don't think we'll get relegated, don't get me wrong. I think we'll have enough to stay up.
Listen to ourselves, man.
That's what I'm saying.
We have enough to stay up.
We have enough quality to stay up, even if it means when Frank Saxton.
I can't believe these words are coming out your mouth.
But right now, we could easily be in a month's time. If we time travel 1 month from now, when we've played those 4 games in the next 4 league fixtures, we could easily be within touching distance of that relegation zone. Could we be in that relegation zone? And if West Ham win 3 of their games, they would have to win 3 of their next 4, and we lose all our 4 games.
Yeah, but even after the next 4 games, and we've still got difficult fixtures after that I don't trust us to, like Fulham away. You think we're going to go to Fulham away and not lose?
There's no game where you can trust us right now. I do think, and if I'm being fair to Frank, I do think these games coming up. Now, I did say this before, and it didn't exactly pan out like this, but I do think these are the games, in terms of how we set up, which are probably more suited to how where we are setting up. And obviously, some of our better results and main performances have come in these kind of games. Man City, we went to Newcastle, got a draw. Liverpool with 10 men, we could have got a result out of that. Obviously, Dortmund, we've won. So those are the kind of games which you look at and you think, and performance you think maybe we are more suited to playing those kind of games. And I tend to agree with that. But even within that context, you know, Newcastle we still should have lost. Liverpool, we did still lose. Obviously, Arsenal away, we got absolutely trounced 4-1. Villa, we had a better performance, but we lost at home. So even though we might be having better performances, results haven't exactly been amazing. Maybe a bit better than against the lower teams, which is incredible. But results haven't exactly been like consistently good. So even if we do get some results over the next month, like how many games are we realistically thinking we're going to win?
Yeah, the thing is, over the next 4 fixtures, the corresponding fixtures, we've picked up 5 points from. We beat Man City, like you said, drew with Man United, drew with Newcastle, and lost to Arsenal. I don't think we can replicate that. I think it's going to be worse over the next 4 fixtures. I think over the next 4, our most winnable one is probably Newcastle at home. They've just got a really bad away record, and we could potentially do something in that game. I don't trust us at all against Arsenal. Man United away is going to be incredibly difficult now with them changing their manager and then looking a lot better against Man City. We'll see how they are today in the second game under Carrick. And Man City at home, I just feel, yeah, look, Spurs have always got it in them to get a result against Man City, no matter what state we're in. But again, it could be vice versa. Man City could always turn up on the day.
And it's just nuts when, I know we've mentioned the results against the bottom 4, but it's nuts as well that we've lost to West Ham and we got battered by Forest. And the 2 results we did get against Wolves and Burnley, we needed last minute goals to get anything out of those games.
Yeah,
it's nuts, isn't it, to think that we could very well be looking at 4 losses there, and especially the Wolves one we should have been. So when you're looking at the fixture list, like now at the end of the season, you're thinking, okay, when are we playing these bottom teams to save us? We can't even look at those games because we're not getting the results in those games.
Yeah, it's true. And after the Arsenal game, which is the last of the next 4, Fulham away, don't trust us in that game. Palace at home is a potential for 3 points there. Liverpool away, I can't see us winning there. Then we play Nottingham Forest at home. Now, if we lose that Forest game at home, that's when the alarm bells, I think, will really start to ring.
I mean, they should be.
They should be ringing red, but even you were saying you don't think we're going to get relegated. But if we actually lose that game and we envisage the next 4, 5, 6 games to go, if they go that way, then there will be an actual realistic chance of actually going down, not just thinking about we're going to be in a relegation scrap.
We'll put it this way, if we're being ultra like, okay, this is it, we have to think about relegation battle now, 40 points we need. We're on 28 now.
Yeah.
Where are these 4 wins coming from? We need 4 wins from now to the end of the season. Do you see 4 wins anywhere?
I mean, we've won 2 in our last 15 or 14 games or whatever it is. Who are the wins coming from? Well, let's go through our fixtures and we'll see.
City won.
Are we beating City? Probably not. Let's be honest. We're probably not beating City. We're probably not beating Man United. We're probably not beating Newcastle. We're probably not beating Arsenal. We're probably not beating Fulham. Palace could be one of them.
Maybe Palace, yeah, Glasner side.
And it could be in the mix of Europe at that point as well. So Palace could be one of them. Liverpool, no. Forest, are we going to beat Forest at home? maybe.
If we don't win at home, but maybe.
Sunderland away, we're not winning. Brighton at home, probably not.
Well, I actually think Brighton are one of the teams which obviously we had a good game against Brighton last time.
Yeah.
That's maybe a game I would earmark because I think Frank would like playing against them. If this is given Frank's still in charge anyway.
Yeah, that's 3. That's 3, and we can't even hand in heart say we're going to win those games. Wolves away.
They're okay. Surely, there's something.
We couldn't even beat them at home.
Yeah, but we're better away.
Then we got Villa away. That's no chance. Leeds at home. Maybe, but probably not. If they're in the same mode that they're in now, we won't beat them. Chelsea away and Everton at home. So not Chelsea away.
Maybe Everton. So you're earmarking, I think the ones you're earmarking are Everton at home, Leeds at home, Forest and Wolves.
And Brighton, you said.
And maybe Brighton as well, yeah.
So those are 5 maybe wins, and we're not even like sure on some of them.
To get us to 40 points. Are we going to win those 5 games, guys? Is that where we're at? Are we going to get over the line, or are we going to get seriously dragged into it? Because I think 40 points will surely be enough.
40 points should be enough, yeah.
But West Ham are on a roll, and the thing is, West Ham, whatever you want to say about them, they have been Premier League regulars for a reason. They are a big club, so they aren't going to go down without a fight, I don't think. They're going to probably, I reckon they'll invest a bit more between now and the end of the window. I think the owners are petrified of relegation. I don't think we're scared of it because I don't think we're taking that threat seriously as a club. West Ham, they're obviously right there, right? So they're petrified of actually going down. I think they're not going to go down without a fight. And I think they're going to put a run together. I'm pretty certain of that. But where that leads them, I don't know.
They're currently on 20 points.
Yeah. So to get to 40, how many wins is that? That's 6. 6 wins would be 18 points. So 6 wins, pretty much they need.
Yeah.
That's 38. 38 is usually enough.
Yeah.
I mean, 6 wins, is that crazy? And how many games? How many games have we got left at the end of the season?
15.
6. I mean, it is pretty crazy given their current form, but they are 2-2 on the bounce now.
Yeah, they play Chelsea away next. They're probably not going to win that. If they beat Burnley the week after that, then it starts to get even more scary. I don't know. I'm looking at West Ham's fixtures, and they play Leeds last game of the season.
Big game.
Their last 3 out of their last 2, they go to Newcastle away and play Arsenal at home. So they're probably going to lose them. Brentford away. They got a couple of winnable games. They've got Wolves at home. Again, probably don't even trust West Ham as well. Like a bit similar to us to win these kind of games.
Well, I'm saying I think they've got a shot in the arm now. I don't think we're going to see the West Ham that was as bad as they have been. I'm not saying they're going to be like an incredible team now. I'm just saying they're going to be better. I reckon they're not going to go down without a fight. They're going to give themselves a fighting chance.
Do you think they pick up from now until the end of the season more points than us?
No, I don't. But if we keep Frank, maybe.
Whatever it is, whether we go down or not, it's a very scary situation. Whether we think we're going to go down or not, or shall I say, it's a very scary situation.
I just can't believe we're here. After a year ago we were kind of talking about it, but I think the last year the difference was that the bottom 3 was so bad, like much worse than they are now, and they just couldn't really live within the Premier League. Those teams, whereas at least. Obviously, Wolves have been horrible, but Wolves and Burnley have been probably as bad as last year's teams. But West Ham are a Premier League regular, and that I think the fight for that last spot is probably going to go down to the wire.
Yeah, look, all those teams in the conversation have all been relegated in the last 10 years.
Yeah,
West Ham have, Forest have, Leeds have.
West Ham have also been in the past 10 years European regulars for a time. And
they got back-to-back Europe. Did they get more than 2 years in a row?
3 years in a row? They won 3 years in a row.
2 Europa League, 1 Conference League, yeah.
Yeah. So they were, for a time they were regulars. They're obviously a big club as well. I mean, comparatively. So, yeah, they're not going to go down. That the fight for that last spot, they're not going to. I don't think it's going to be like last season where April they're down. It's not going to be like that. I don't think they're going to give it their best shot, and they got a good manager as well, who I think has been in these situations before. and they do have some good players, and they might sign some more. So I think it's going to be a different situation to last season. Last season, we were safe by February, even though we were bad and tanking. We literally got 2 wins in Feb, and we were safe because the other teams were just that bad. It's not going to be like that this year.
And as well, like, we have this debate, or not we don't have the debate because we have a similar opinion on it, but there's a debate in the Spurs fan base that these players are not good enough, and we are where we deserve to be on the back of Kane and Son leaving and all that, which obviously it's a massive downgrade onto Kane and Son. I'm not saying it's not, but you look at the starting 11 yesterday. Who out of those starting 11 are relegation fodder? Because none of them are, in my opinion. Vicario's not, Danso's not, Romero's not, Van der Ven's not, Porro's not, Bissouma's not, Gallagher's not, Spence isn't, Simmons, Odobert, Solanke. None of them are relegation fodder. You know
The
what I
only
mean?
one you can maybe make the argument is Odobert because he got relegated with Burnley, but other than that,
He was our best player yesterday.
he was our best player. And I think he is improving. So I wouldn't make that argument personally. I'm just saying if someone was to argue, maybe Odobert would be the only one.
What I'm saying is all the starting 11 that started yesterday's game are all decent players.
They've all shone in other teams and other environments.
They're all decent players. So I'm not having this kind of thing like, oh, we are where we are because of the playing staff. It's just such rubbish, isn't it?
Bollocks. I'm sorry. This team is much better than being in a relegation battle. We should be minimum challenging for a minimum top 10 at the bare minimum, but we really should be in a European challenge. I mean, we predicted 5th beginning of the season. Maybe that was delusional. Look, maybe it was, but we still have enough players to be in and around that conversation. I look at our squad compared to the likes of like even Villa and Newcastle and Brentford, who are right now in that kind of fight for Europe, and all those clubs. And I really don't think our squads are that different. And I know that's crazy to say given right now where those teams are and where we are. But I honestly, I look at their teams. I don't think they're that special. I honestly think, let's say we had Villa's squad, right, and we were in the position we were in now. There'll be people deludedly saying, "Oh, it's because the players are just rubbish." They'll be making that excuse again because Rodgers is from the Championship, all this kind of stuff. Like, honestly, the players that we have, the potential they have, they could be in that top 6 fight. A lot of these players were part of. Everyone says, "Oh, all these players, they were part of the team that finished 17th," which is true. But they also are part of the team that finished 5th. They know how to win games regularly, like they did in that season. They obviously won the Europa League as well last season. So they showed a bit about them to get over the line in that competition. These aren't players. I know if you take kind of the league form over the last 18 months. And you can very much make the case these players, they're showing their quality. Look at our performances. Look at our results. This is where the playing staff are. It's just not a very good team. But I just think you have to, if you look a bit deeper than that. Last season, when I think our record when we had Romero and Van der Ven was quite good. I think we in overall we played 16 games and won 10 of them. So was
that all in the league?
No, it was all competitions. But we only had 16, unfortunately.
How many in the league was it?
I think in the league it was played 9, won 5. I think lost 4, something like that, or drew 1, lost 3, something like that.
Yeah, so nearly half.
Nearly half, but it's better than now. I'll take
cool.
half. But my point being,
I'm saying that kind of run is obviously very heavy inflated with a lot of early rounds in the Europa League, isn't it?
the 16 games is.
Yeah.
The league games, we won some good games in the league.
Yeah.
But obviously the Europa League is still, we had to win that competition. I'm saying, but the point being, I think when we had a fully functioning team, I think we won games and we played good football. And I think it all went wrong due to the circumstances. And I think this season, that also has a part to play. But I think mainly, the way we play is not down to a lot of the time down to the injuries that we have. It's down to how we're set up and how we approach games. And I think the team are capable of so much more.
It's bad as well. Like, everyone goes about how shit our squad is. We put out a team like we played yesterday, and we've just been through it. We both agreed, they're all decent players. Not like a lot of them are not world beaters, but decent players, good enough to be in the top 10 at least at the very minimum. And that's with the injury crisis that we're going through right now.
Yeah.
That's with 6 or 7 players out with long-term injuries. That just shows you as well, like the squad as a whole is not bad.
It's not. I don't think it is. Look, we all want better. Everyone wants better. I think when people say the squad isn't good enough, that's fine, but I think people misconstrue that to say the squad's not good enough, ergo Frank has both hands tied behind his back. That's not the case. That's not what I'm saying. It isn't good enough in terms of we need better if we want to be challenging the very best teams. We can all agree that.
Yeah.
But in terms of being back in that European fight, I think there's players there more than capable of doing that, more than capable of being part of that team. And I just think we need a manager who's going to get more out of these players and set them up to create more chances, be more on the front foot, believe in what they're doing, and get the fan base on side and get them behind the team as well. I think the whole thing is an absolute mess at the moment, and I think there's young players in there, yes, who need to grow, but there's also some good senior players in there who have had good careers and they're capable a lot more than what we're seeing. And look, there's signs of Odegaard growing. I think there's signs of Tell growing, but especially with Tell, he hasn't trusted him anywhere near enough. There was a period as well where Odegaard was left out of the team after he was playing well for no reason. He needs to be getting more out of a lot of our players. Xavi, he needs to be getting more out of him as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's frustrating. I understand the frustration with the players as well. It's hard to know where the buck stops when it comes to exactly how much portion of blame. But when you look at the overall picture of how we're playing and the results we're getting, it ultimately falls down on Frank for that.
It's like, I didn't see the analysis, but I saw a few quotes coming through, and apparently, did you watch Match of the Day last night?
No, I saw some of the analysis clips though.
Yeah, apparently Alan Shearer was saying that the main problem at Spurs has been down to the recruitment and looking at the playing staff and saying they're just not good enough, the players that we have, and kind of not talking about Thomas Frank too much and putting any blame on him. And I just think it's nuts.
Well, but it's also, yeah, that is true. He said that it's just a bad team. That's the main problem. They just got a bad team. And it's mad as well. Glenn Murray did the same thing. He said Frank's job should not be in danger at all. He just needs time, and he's doing an okay job and all this rubbish. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And it was, funnily enough, there was an article from this month last season where Glenn Murray was talking about Tottenham then, and he said 15th is unacceptable. Ange has to adapt or he has to leave, and he's not doing a good enough job. And yet when it comes to Frank, he runs for cover for Frank and says Frank is doing a fine job. His job shouldn't be under threat whatsoever, he said. Like, definitively, his job shouldn't be under pressure whatsoever, and they have to give him time.
When did he say that?
What?
When did he say that?
Yesterday.
Oh, he said that yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. And I'm like, I was listening to it after reading what someone posted, what he wrote about Ange last season. Like, I don't understand why he's so harsh on one side and then completely runs for cover Frank on the other side. And I do think there is a narrative protecting Frank at the moment. I'm seeing Sky Sports posting graphics about Thomas Frank, about all the injuries we've got this season. And I feel like the narrative, again, last season was Ange was to blame for the injuries. This season, Frank is a victim of the injuries. And I'm not saying from the fan base, because I think the fan base have been very harsh on Frank. I think the fan base have been going for him. But I think when it comes to the media, I'm seeing a lot of protection for Frank. I don't see anyone in the media really saying he should be under threat or he's doing a bad job or anything like that.
I think the only one is like O'Hara, isn't
yeah,
it?
he's been very well protected, I think, from the main guys in the media, whereas I thought Ange last year was being called a clown by journalists. He was really getting the boots stuck into him, I thought, last season by a lot of the journos. Again, this isn't about Ange per se, it's more about the protection that Frank's getting, which I find very weird.
Yeah. I don't really get it, to be honest. I think that Frank should be slammed as much as, if not more, than what Ange Postecoglou was last season, and that's coming for someone that was happy that Frank got appointed instead of Ange. But look, the reality is, I don't think either of them are probably good fits for Tottenham right now. So, yeah, I think there is a lot of protection for Thomas Frank in the media, and I just can't put my finger on why that is. Is it because of his story of what he did at Brentford? I don't know.
I think he's probably him being a nice guy, and him also, I think Ange was very bullish, wasn't he? And very confident of himself. And I think the English media don't like that. They like a humble guy like Frank, who's kind of will toe the line. He will just kind of he's very nice in his press conference and stuff like that. Whereas Ange is just very bullish. He'll make these statements. I always win trophies in my second season. I don't think the media will drag you down for it until then you prove it, and then they'll build him up for what he said, which is what they like to do. They don't like bullish, confident characters who will just believe in themselves. I think they like people like Frank, who's just very humble and will like not make big statements and will kind of know your place kind of thing. I think that's what I think the media prefer that, or journalists apparently, it seems.
Well, absolute shit show, whatever the situation's going on. Manager, players, everything. It's just, and I just don't see the way out of it. But let's bring up the Tottenham update now, because Fabrizio Romano said last night that Thomas Frank softened the pressure of him by beating Dortmund, but now after yesterday's result, his job is back at risk. And I'm just thinking, like, what? Like, how was his job still not at risk after the Dortmund game?
I think it's what that implies is we are literally taking it game by game at the moment.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying after the Dortmund game, like, or even before the Dortmund game, like, you can't take these situations game by game. Either you sack him or you back him completely.
Yeah.
You can't just have it a game by game situation. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, either you believe in him or you don't.
Yeah.
Like, taking it game by game is crazy. Like, having him in this position where he's literally just being judged on a game to game basis, first of all, leaves a large element to luck happening. Like, whatever you want to say, yesterday he missed lots of chances. Are you basing him on the fact that we played better, or are you basing him on the fact that we got a bad result? What's exactly the judgment here? Because now you're saying he's back under pressure. I think, for me, they have... Maybe it's a case of they don't believe in him and they're starting to look for alternatives, but what it implies is, he's having lunches after every game. There's no real rumours about them seriously, like, okay, this is the end for him. There's just rumours of discussions happening and stuff like that, and a lot of people, there's a split in the boardroom and things like that, but whether that leads to him going, we don't really have any concrete information about that at the moment, about anyone saying that his time's done at Tottenham. He's finished. No one's really said that, and they're judging him game by game, which is not good for anyone. It's not good for the manager. It's not good for the players. It's not good for the fans, and it's not good for the club as well when it comes to future planning, in terms of where do we go. But I guess the problem you have is, which I agree with, you don't want to keep chopping and changing manager. You want to stick with something. You want to build on a project, and I completely get that. But you also need to be building behind the right guy, and the guy who's the club can get behind and the fans can get behind him, who really fits the club. You need to get behind the right fit, and this is completely the wrong fit.
Yeah.
And they have to cut the cord at this point.
Yeah, I agree with that. If it was up to me, he would, like I keep mentioning, he would have gone at half-time at West Ham, done a lot more to be sacked than what Martin Jol did at the time, and he shouldn't be Spurs manager anymore. That's the reality. It's going too badly. It's getting into a really bad situation, scary situation. We've been through it all. But I would prefer if they just came out through the media and said, Thomas Frank's our guy, we're sticking with him till at least the end of the season, as opposed to what's going on now and going at the end of the game, his job's at risk. Oh, his job's safe now. Oh, his job's at risk. Just keep going from one end of the spectrum to the other. Do one of the other. You know what I mean? Either sack him or come out and say his job is completely safe and make it a non-story till the end of the season.
I
Do
agree.
one or the other.
But then again, if they say that and then we continue to completely tank, like, they might have to go back on their word. That's the thing. So they don't want to do that. But I think right now they do want to keep him. I don't think they want to sack him right now.
But if it becomes untenable, I think it's already untenable. If it becomes untenable in their eyes, and that's a different conversation for a different day, but at least for now, we'll know their intentions. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? So I think they can still come out and say that.
I also think the dreaded vote of confidence doesn't look good for Frank either. You know what I mean? Because we all know, like, once a board comes out publicly, instead of like leaking it or something, when they come out publicly and say, he's our manager, we back him, we know that's usually, weirdly, a sign of a manager on his last legs.
Do you think the case is they're just sticking with it till the end of the transfer window? Because I know we're not an attractive proposition, but it's easier for us to bring in players with a manager than without a manager.
I don't think that's it, to be honest. I think think it probably has an effect. You don't want to be sacking a manager during the transfer window. I don't think it's they're waiting till the end of the transfer window to then sack him. I just think they don't want to sack him during the transfer window, but I also don't think they're going to sack him after either. I think they're going to stick with it for the time being.
But how long? How bad does it have to get for them to actually push that button?
I think it's already gone beyond that point, so it could be any time now, but I think they are sticking with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's coming into their thinking, but I think also what's obviously coming to their thinking is like, where do we actually go if we sack Frank? Who can we actually bring in? Because no fan can tell you even an option of who they want as interim from now to the end of the season. No fan can tell you even what manager can come on a full-time basis if we were to sack Frank from now for the foreseeable future. So it's like, what are they thinking behind the scenes? Like, who are the actual options? Is it Johnny Heitinger? Is it Justin Cochrane? Is it to get Ryan Mason back? Like, none of these options are good.
I think if we had a competent board who had football people who had good knowledge of the game in and around the decision-making department, I think they could do what Brighton did, you know? They could find a Potter or find a De Zerbi or find a Hertzler in Tottenham's version of those managers who are, maybe lesser known, but, looking at their body of work, you can tell they're going to be a good fit and can tell what they would bring, and get someone like that in right now. Maybe it's the guy from Celta Vigo or maybe the guy from Stuttgart or whatever. Look around Europe potentially and see who's a good fit. But we don't have that knowledge on the board. We don't have any creativity on the at board level. They just know the basic facts. Oh, Pochettino, he was good at Tottenham, so maybe bring it back. Oh, Xavi Alonso went unbeaten with Leverkusen, and he was Real Madrid manager, so he's probably good. Xavi, he was manager of Barcelona, all these big names. And so that's kind of where their thinking is at. Only the big names are the top managers. Whereas if we had a bit of creativity, there probably are managers out there we could get. Unfortunately, when you talk to to Tottenham fans, at games or whatever, a lot of those, this isn't a criticism of a lot of Tottenham fans, but obviously they're not sitting there watching Europe, a lot of games in Europe. I'm not saying I am either. I'm just saying in general, fans of most casual fans of Tottenham are not watching games around Europe, are they? They're watching Tottenham, maybe some other Premier League games, and that's it. So they're not going to give you an answer of, I think we should get the guy from, Celta Vigo. What do they know about the guy from Celta Vigo? But that's where the board and the recruitment and the higher ups should come into play. That's where they're paid the big bucks to have that knowledge and have the know-how of who's doing a good job, who's doing what. You know what? I think it's crazy sometimes. I don't know whether they do this or not, but they say now, like scouting, when it comes to players, there are no secrets, right? That there's, every player is known. All the top clubs will go for the same players because they all know. Every player is no secret anymore. Even a player in the second division of Spain who's killing it, every top club knows about all these players. But is it the same when it comes to managers? Is it the same when it comes to teams? Is there a department around looking at the best managers around every divisions and seeing how they play, studying every single team across all the top leagues, and maybe even beyond that, and seeing how they're doing, what they're doing, and whether they'll be a good fit for Tottenham? Because I feel like that should also be in place. That we should have that knowledge, because it avoids us being in the situation where we are now, where we have a manager in place who's not working, but the only guys we can think of are guys who are unattainable because we have no creativity when it comes to coming up with managers to sign.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it's a big question, and I think like picking the right manager is a lot harder than picking the right player.
100%.
So there's that to come into it as well. But the people that are making the decisions, the people at the top, Fabio's gone. So the biggest footballing knowledge in the decision-making process has gone. So we're stuck with Johan Lang.
Or even him, he only had knowledge of Serie A.
That's true, but that's true, but he's still gone. And he was the biggest football knowledge person that was there. Johan Lang.
Serie A is better than nothing.
Johan Lang, I have no faith in him whatsoever. The people above him, like, they all they know is how to maneuver a few numbers on a spreadsheet. They know nothing about football, it seems. And I think the club aren't even looking at these kind of managers, because I think the club are just hell-bent on bringing Mauricio Pochettino back at the end of the season. I think that is the clear direction of travel. I think it's a manager that wants to be here. It's a manager that loves the club. It's a manager that has done a good job here in the past. The whole of the away end was singing his name yesterday. So that even gives them more validity and more vindication of having that thought process. So I don't think they're even looking for a full-time manager now. I think they're looking for only an interim. And that's why, and that's their excuse even more, to stick with Frank for as long as possible, because they have no idea who to bring in as an interim. They're absolutely clueless. There is no good interim out there.
I agree with you. And I think that's another damning indictment on them. In terms of, look, if you're taking it just objectively, and let's say we travel in time 4 months, Frank is still here, he then gets sacked and we need a manager, at that point, am I open and in favour of bringing Poch back? Okay, yeah, because we need a manager. He's a pretty good one. The fans get behind him, blah, blah, blah. But right now, if you're asking me, would I rather get a new permanent manager in right now or wait 4 months with Frank and go for Poch? I'm saying get one in right now. Have some creativity, find someone who can do the job. There are managers out there. I refuse to believe there's just no managers out there who can do the job. I think there are managers out there who can step in, improve us immediately, and are good coaches and get us playing the football more like the football we want to see. And I bet they can probably do it quickly. So I don't think Poch, for me, is the end game, so much so that I would wait for him to join in the summer, and it's like we just need to wait for our long lost love Poch to come back in the summer, and we can't do anything because we can't jeopardise Poch coming back. I wouldn't do that. I don't think it's worth doing. I think for me, if you can get a permanent manager in right now, you get one. But I kind of get the point. Who is that manager? And do you want an interim? All that kind of stuff. That's fine, but that's for them. They're paid millions and millions of pounds to make those decisions. So bloody do your job. Do your job, or find someone that will.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at. I don't think sitting here and waiting for Poch is the best course of action. Whether they think it is or not, I don't think it is.
Well, knowing Johan Lang, he'll probably get us like Steven Gerrard as an interim or something like that. Send us down. Literally send us down. But I genuinely think they're not looking. They're not even considering a full-time replacement right now. It's an interim and then Poch.
I agree. I think that's the only thing. I think it's either keep with Frank or interim and then Poch. I think those are the two options we have, according to the board.
Yeah, I agree. And I see a lot of people saying, Poch won't be good to go back to Poch and all this kind of stuff. And there's definitely validity to that. And they're saying, his managerial career since leaving Spurs has been a bit of a disaster. But I also think there's issues and reasons why it hasn't gone according to plan. And I think at PSG, obviously he went in there with a massive situation of player power, and obviously it's gone massively right since Luis Enrique, but Poch wasn't afforded the time and the money, and not the money, but the time and the power to overhaul that squad that was desperately needed. Obviously Luis Enrique has been, and he's much better off for it. So I think that was a big situation there. And at Chelsea, I think he was only afforded one season. And in the second half of that season, it got better. And we all know Poch needs time to imprint his ideas and get his message across and everything like that. So I don't actually think it's been the disaster which everyone says it's been.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think he's been horrific, but he also hasn't gone well. I think that's fair to say. It's not like he's been great, but it also hasn't been the car crash that people are maybe painting it. I don't think he's as finished as people say he is when it comes to managing at the top level. I don't think his methods are so far behind him. Maybe he has sat down and reflected on some of the things. Maybe he's grown, add some strings to us, but I don't know, to be honest. I don't know what's in his head. But also, there's no evidence to suggest I think when he left Tottenham, or when he was at the height of his management in Tottenham, he was seen as one of the elite coaches in the Premier League. Now, I don't think he comes back to Tottenham with that same reputation or status. And that's, I think, the thing people are pointing at. Albeit, I mean, if you look at the top clubs, who's better than him? I guess you'd say Arteta, you say Pep, maybe Eddie Howe. Is Slot, would you say, better than him?
Well, he won a title.
He won a title. So Slot. So, but I think when he was at Tottenham, he was probably seen as like second to Pep.
But I think
Klopp, third than Klopp, only him and Klopp.
When I hear people talking about Poch, I hear them say, "Oh, he never got us over the line. Oh, he's not a winning manager," and all this kind of stuff. Like, we're not a team looking to get over the line right now. We're a team looking just to get relevant again. That's where we're at, and it's not a Pochettino looking to pick up where he left off. That's been damaged and destroyed and put in the bin right now. He is looking to start from square one again. That's where Pochettino is picking up this squad from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are diamonds in the rough there. There are players that he can work with for sure. But we're a team that are going to be consistently 2 years in a row finishing in the lower half of the table, the lower quarter of the table, probably. And, you know, when he picked us up, it was actually a team finished 6th, but with a squad that needed a major overhaul. But a lot of the players that were seemed like at the end of the road at Tottenham, he turned around and made them good players, and obviously relied heavily on youth. And I think that's what he's going to have to do here.
Here's something to posit. If Emre was saying after last game that we're not a top 5 side because of these reasons, and maybe there's a bit of evidence of him getting a bit frustrated and stuff like that. Do you think, first of all, could we convince him out of Villa, and would you? Like, not now maybe, but in the summer, potentially.
I think Unai Emery is very frustrated with the finance situation at Villa. And obviously at Spurs, it's a lot better than that. The thing is with Unai Emery, everyone wants that kind of front-footed attacking manager. And that's not Unai Emery, is it?
Well, he's not. I wouldn't say he's a defensive coach.
I wouldn't say he's a defensive coach either, but he's not the kind of football that most Spurs fans want to see. He plays effective football.
Yeah, but I'd say it's very much, it's risky. Like, his football is very high line. I think he's quite adaptable, similar to like Frank in that sense.
But a lot like Emre, like, he will go like that in the first half. He'll go, and then in the second half he'll like kind of sit back and
yeah.
I don't know if that's gonna.
He's very tactical rather than philosophical.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's a Tottenham manager, Unai Emery. I like him. I think he's a very good manager, a top manager, but I'm just not sure if he's a Tottenham manager.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, true. Whether it's the right fit is one question, but I think we saw what he did with Villa when he took over from Gerrard, didn't he? They were a similar position to us right now.
Yeah.
And he got them back into the European spots. And obviously, look, he's got them challenging for big things, like whether it be cups or Champions League spots. And looking at Tottenham, he wouldn't have the same financial restrictions.
Yeah, there's also another element to it of him being a failed Arsenal manager. Which I think comes into play as well. I think there'll be question marks over Emre from the fan base if we were to bring him in.
Yeah, I think there'll be excitement, actually.
I don't think it will be unified excitement. There will be excitement from some people for sure.
I think it would be a popular appointment.
I'm not sure.
I think it would be if we were to announce tomorrow that
just because of what we're going through. But if it's in the summer and there's Pochettino sitting there, I don't think so.
Would you rather Poch or Emery?
Poch,
Poch,
in my opinion, yeah.
I think Emery would do a better job.
I think Pochettino's a better fit for the club.
That might be true.
Like I said, I really like Emery as a manager. I think he's a top manager, one of the best managers in the Premier League, in my opinion. But there's just something about it that doesn't make. I don't know if he's a good fit for us.
Yeah, I do have those reservations as well, to be honest. But I'm also willing to give it a go right now. I'll take Emery.
Anyway, that's the manager situation. There is an update on Andy Robertson as well. The Mail reporting that Tottenham and Liverpool are discussing a £5 million package in the deal for Andy Robertson. And Romano says negotiations between Tottenham and Liverpool for Andy Robertson are still ongoing. After an opening proposal sent on Friday, the two clubs remain in talks over a fee. Now, there was an interesting situation yesterday. Obviously, he came on at half-time for Milos Kerkez. I don't know if there's been an update, if it was an injury or tactical or whatever. But Arne Slot was asked after the game about Andy Robertson, and he didn't really, answer it directly. But he says, I need all my players. So do we think this is a deal that's still going to happen? Romano is still saying the clubs are in talks. What do you reckon the situation is here?
I don't think Liverpool want to lose him, or I don't think Slot wants to lose him. Van Dijk also quoted today saying he told Robertson he wants him to stay. So I think we're obviously trying to get this deal over the line. We're kind of bring it forward after Davis's injury, and we're willing to put a bit of money up front to get him through the line. I think Liverpool, as a club, the hierarchy, they're open to it. They're open to letting Robertson leave. Robertson wants to join, but I think that as a vice captain of the club, I think Slot doesn't want to lose him, especially given the form they're in, and they need characters like Robertson right now to get through the next 6 months. They also don't want to be left short when it comes to the playing squad, and I think obviously the players probably really like him because he's been a part of the furniture for so long. So I think it could go either way, because I think a lot of it might depend on Kirkes, because I think if Kirkes is injured, I think Robertson wouldn't want to leave Liverpool high and dry like that. And if he's got assurances, look, Kirkes is injured, I'm going to be starting now, aren't I? So why am I really pushing to leave? I think it probably would scupper the deal, to be honest. So we'll see what happens with Kirkes.
Yeah, obviously Tsimikas is about to be recalled back from his loan as well, so that's another element to it. I think we're not going to hear anything on this until probably after Liverpool's Champions League game, or maybe we'll hear something before that, but I think he's going to be in the squad and he's going to get a send-off at Anfield if he is leaving, regardless. So I think if he is to join, he won't join until after that. It'll probably be like one of the deadline day things or something, or just before.
Yep, I think so. I think, yeah, agreed. It'll go down to the wire. And it's funny, it's a signing or link that split the fan base in terms of whether people think it's the right move or not. But it seems like even those ones we can't get over the line. And I guess it would be seen as a blow, because I think if before the weekend it seemed like it was about to happen, now it seems like it's very much in the balance. But if we were planning to bring him in and that kind of character and we don't, that's probably going to be a blow to Frank.
Yeah, and also, if we don't bring him in, that means we're going to have to trust Sousa, right? And they clearly don't think Sousa's ready. So that's another element to it.
I was about to say, will they? I don't know. Maybe they'll just do what they've been carried on doing in a doggy and Spence and play Porro every bloody week.
Yeah, probably. But look, that is your Tottenham update. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all those situations. A quick update on the scoreline. So Nottingham Forest are winning 1-0 away at Brentford. Igor Jesus scoring. Brentford making 2 changes before half-time. Chelsea are winning 2-0 away at Palace, with Esteval and João Pedro scoring the goals. And Newcastle losing 1-0 to Aston Villa at St James's Park, with Emi Buendia scoring the goal.
All the away teams.
Yeah. So as it stands, that leaves us in 14th spot, 3 points above 17th, which is crazy. 3 points above 17th.
Bloody hell.
Anyway, let's get on to our player ratings, and let's start off with Vicario. 5s all round for Big Vic. And yeah, in terms of Big Vic, his kicking was just absolutely horrific in this game. So much panic and so no calm at all with Victor, Vicario in this game. And, he just kept just aimlessly punting it up the field. Obviously, a goal came from his kicking as well. He did make some decent saves in the second half, but yeah, he was just so erratic, wasn't he?
Yeah, especially the kicking. Look, for me, obviously he made a good double save from Broja, but I think the first goal comes from his panic. And that's just the thing with Vicario. He doesn't calm. He doesn't exude calmness, does he? Every time he's got the ball at his feet, he seems worried. He's passing a lot of the time. You're just worried, is it going to be accurate? Is it going to be not? The players don't seem calm when he's on the ball. He's got no composure. And that obviously, it leads to situations like yesterday. I didn't think overall he had a terrible game. Didn't think he could do much with the first goal. Second goal, he does his best. He makes a save and comes back out, and he gets a touch on the second one, but unfortunately ends up in back of the net. But I think the first goal just comes from he just needs to be calm in those situations. And if you're not, just boot it long. Don't play a stupid ball short and put us under more pressure. Yeah, absolutely. Fans are giving him 4.5, so a bit less than what we've gone for. So Pedro Porro up next. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 5. Pre-planned subs, Thomas Frank said, lasted 45 minutes. And
yeah, it was nowhere near as strong as his performance in midweek against Dortmund. I felt like in possession he was struggling quite a bit, actually, and a number of misplaced passes that crept back into his game that we've seen a lot this season. I think where he was most dangerous was from the free kicks. He had 2 really decent free kicks. One hit the side netting and one, I think, forced a save out the keeper.
And corners as well.
Yeah, corners were decent as well. So his set pieces were good, but I think that's kind of all we saw yesterday.
Yeah, he got taken up at half time. Hopefully, it's not an injury. Frank said it was something physical, whatever that means.
It's something that we've all been calling for Porro to get some rest, because he's been playing game after game for year after year.
I'm not complaining if it's that or not. I just wonder what it is. Is it an injury? Has he picked something up? Or was it a pre-planned sub to take over? He said it was something physical, which hopefully implies it was a break. But then why not just give him the whole game? I don't understand why play him a half. It doesn't make sense to me if that was part of the plan. But obviously, as you say, I think set pieces were good. He was part of the reason why we were 1-0 up, or when we were. I didn't have too many problems with him. I just didn't think in open play he was particularly great.
Mickey van der Ven, 6 from Sim, 7 from me. Obviously scored the goal. Unbelievable finish. For the goal that we did concede, the first one, he got turned inside out, man. Really did. Very worrying sign there for Mickey. But he did make a number of kind of last-ditch challenges, which look certain goals at times. So, kind of good and bad from Mickey. But, yeah, I marked him up 1 for the goal.
Yeah, I think maybe 6 was a bit harsh. I did think he was pretty good, but I think maybe that spin really annoyed me that he struggled to defend that moment from Jadon Anthony. I also think he didn't support Spence / Doggy as much as maybe a Doggy was supporting Spence on Wednesday night. He didn't really pick too many moments to fly forward. He did it on occasion, but would like to maybe have seen a bit more, make us a bit more threatening. But yeah, fine finish for the goal. Really, you can see he used to be a striker back in the day, because that was a striker's finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's just so hard to see Mickey at the end of each and every game looking so dejected, because we're so used to seeing that big smile on his face, and it's becoming a rare occurrence now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Next up is Kuti Romero. 7s all round for Kuti. I thought by and large he had a pretty strong game. So strong in the duels. I think he won 100% of his ground duels yesterday. So that was very strong. Needs to be doing a lot better for the second goal. He needs to bust the gut to get back in the box and to save that situation. He didn't do that, which was pretty poor. But, he comes away. The story of the game, he's the hero. 3 goals in 3 games for Kuti Romero. Saved us from a loss with a bullet diving header. I thought for the most part, he had a good game. It was just that goal he needs to be doing more for.
Is he on his way to breaking Vardy's record? That's the question. 3 in a row. Romero. I have to say, I was watching it back, and the second goal, he was a disgrace. There's no two ways about it. Shocking defending, not running back and getting in position when he missed the ball. There's not real excuse for it, but he was so good apart from that. It's hard to really mark him too harshly down in it, but he was so bad for that goal. But then I also thought for the goal we scored, he was brilliant. It's such a brilliant header. The way he guided it on target, the fact that he had to dive for it as well. You won't see too many better headers this season than that one. I thought it was fantastic, the way he scored. And obviously, Roy of the Rovers kind of stuff dragging us to a point. But I thought defending at times was good. Obviously, the last shit stuff was good. But as well, I thought he had his hand to play in the first goal. The fact he miscontrolled that ball from Vicario, although it wasn't a good ball in the first place. And the second goal, he was a disgrace. So the best and worst of him, I would say.
Yeah, 7.2. The fans have given him, so they're quite happy with his performance. Next up is Kevin Danso. 5s all round for Kevin. And after such a strong performance against Dortmund, I thought, he was fairly poor in this game. Looked nervy on the ball. His playing out the back was just poor and erratic at times. And defensively, he did win quite a few headers at the back, but I thought, they tested every time. It looked like they kind of targeted him when going forward, and it wasn't great.
Yeah, don't blame him too much for the second goal, even though he's got one man and he's got 3 Burnley attackers next to him. There's only so much he can do, but I also think his passing was woeful. The amount of times he played the ball out of play with an unforced error was a bit of a joke, to be honest. And It's funny, his playing at the back was something that stands out, but also when you actually look at the stats, he played our most progressive passes like yesterday. So maybe maybe there's something to say about that. But I thought in general, he wasn't woeful, but he was very, very sloppy and he wasn't at his best. And I don't think he should have started. I just think, why start 3 centre-backs?
Yeah, he won 7 out of his 8 aerial duels yesterday.
There you go.
So a very strong showing in the air, as it always is. With, Daigle dubbed him Magnet Head, and he always is Magnet Head. But 5.5 from you lot. So you rated him a tiny bit higher than we did. Yves Bissouma, first start of the season, we've given him a 6. I thought first half, he was doing really well, winning the ball back in the middle of the park, being a busybody, trying to drive forward. And I thought he was the best, one of Spurs' better players in the first half. Second half, I thought he tired out the game. And maybe it's a culmination of not much football this season, and that maybe showed in the second half, and he got taken off. But I like his performance in the first half, and I think we need to keep building him and get that match fitness back, because he could be important for us second half of the season.
Yeah, I thought first half was one of our better players on the pitch, and I thought he was really bossing things, like winning the ball brilliantly, and not just that, but like keeping it and playing the ball forward and finding Spence in good positions. There was so much to like about his first half performance, but in the second half he did definitely peter out, and Burnley were getting more and more counter attacks, and then he was struggling to kind of keep pace. Maybe it's due to the amount of football he's played this season, but rightfully taken off, I would say.
Yeah. So you've given him a 6.2, so not too dissimilar to our score. Conor Gallagher up next. Sim gives him a 4. I gave him a 5. I mean, I'm just looking at Gallagher's performances, and I don't think he does too much wrong, but he's just not doing too much right, if you know what I mean.
Plays it safe a lot.
Yeah, he's not putting in great performances, but he's not having stinkers. He's not trying much. That's the problem, and he's running around a lot. He's putting himself about and winning fouls and putting himself into challenges, but that's about as much as it gets from him. There's no kind of penetration through the midfield. There's no kind of driving runs. It's just sideways passing and challenges. That's pretty much all it is.
Yeah, I think he looked a bit lost, to be honest. Wasn't too impressed. Should have scored as well when the ball fell to him from a corner and Dubravka made a good save. But yeah, he struggled. I think he struggled to really impact the game positively. I think he was way too safe on the ball, wasn't progressing the ball, and I don't think we saw him in the final third way enough, to be honest. So, yeah, I wasn't too impressed with him.
You guys have given him a 5.3 as well, so not too dissimilar to ours. Next up is Javi Simmons. 5s all round for Javi, and I thought it was hot and cold from Javi Simmons. I thought a lot of time, particularly in the first half, he got on the ball, men crowded around him, and he was getting clattered a lot. A lot of times he was getting on the ball and just misplaced passes, either undercooked or overhit, which was really frustrating. There were a few signs of quality as well on the day, and he should have scored when he rifled it across when it hit the bar. I mean, I'm surprised that didn't break the bar with the amount of power it had on that. So I still think, he's our most creative outlet and he needs to play. But, yeah, I thought it was a bit up and down in this game.
Yeah, very sloppy a lot of the time. I think him and Spence on that left-hand side, especially in the first half, just constantly getting the pass wrong when we could have been in and finding moments to get in on goal. So that was really frustrating. But he is a player that tries things, and as much as he's wasteful, he also does create. And he created a chance for Odegaard in the first half, which he could have done better with. He then created a chance for Solanke, when he should have scored, and that was a brilliant ball into the box. And obviously he hit the bar, so he was also involved in some of our best moments in the game. He did, when we won those 2 free kicks, I'm pretty sure he won both of them as well in that first half, and Porro ended up nearly scoring from both of them. So I think there was some good stuff, but the sloppiness was just too much. He needs to cut out that, because it's just needless when he could capable of so much better. If he can just refine his game, it's just a top player already waiting in there.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys given him a 6.3, so a bit higher actually than what we've given him today. Wilson Odegaard, Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 7. Definitely Spurs' driving force in this game. Obviously got a great assist, great cross for Cuti Romero, but it wasn't just that. He had consistent shots in the game, 3 shots on target, countless amount of dribbles as well. He seemed to just be able to take it past players at ease. He looks more comfortable, in my opinion, on the right-hand side than he does on the left, or maybe more effective on the right-hand side than he does on the left. And he had that shot from 25 yards, which was a really good effort that the keeper saved. And yeah, he was just a nuisance for Burnley, and he was most definitely our biggest threat.
Yeah, I thought he was our best player on the day. I thought he was a constant threat down the right-hand side. I thought it took him a little while to get in the game, and then once he did, I thought
that shot was the catalyst, wasn't it?
Yeah, the catalyst for Tottenham and for him, and I think brilliant effort, by the way. I think Dubravka does brilliantly to tip that round the post, and that was obviously a big moment for him, and that was on his left foot as well from 25 yards, so shows good shot technique he has in him. And then had another brilliant shot which Dubravka saved from the corner, which was on the volley, not easy to control, and he was very unlucky not to score. He then set up a chance for Xavi in the second half. He then set up the equaliser for Coutinho Romero, and I thought there was a number of times as well he's just using his pace to beat players and like they weren't even there, get past them and cause openings. And I thought he was really sharp, and I thought he had a really good game.
You guys have given him a 7 on the dot. So, yeah, exactly the same as mine, just a bit below Sims. Spence started on the left, ended on the right. So 6 is all round for Spence. And, you know, he was really dangerous in the first opening minute where he had a opening where he cut it back, which was a really big opening for Spurs and probably should have scored. And just a few seconds after that, he has a shot on target as well. But then from then on, I just felt he was really frustrating in the first half, where just the move just kept breaking down, really poor passes, sloppy moments of play. And I was saying to you on the watch along, I want to see him move over to the right, and Frank did do that in the second half, and I thought he looked a lot more comfortable when he moved over to the right, and he looked more dangerous and more threatening at times. And yeah, he ended the game on the right, and I think that's where, if we're going to play a wing-back system, I think he needs to be on the right-hand side.
Yeah, agreed. And I think he was much better in the second half. I think first half he was like a 4, second half he was like a 7. So I split the difference, gave him a 6. But I think second half, I think he had really good relationship with Odegaard as well in that second half when he was at right back, and I think he was overlapping or underlapping at crucial times, and on his strong foot looked a lot better. I also think, was it his cross that led to Tell's chance, I think, which he nearly scored from, so that was a good ball. First half, he was hugely frustrating, and it frustrated me because you could see it coming. I know he had a good game against Burnley, but surely you have to realise that wasn't going to be the same. Sorry, against Dortmund, he had a good game on the left-hand side, but surely you have to realise that wasn't going to be the case against a Burnley team who are going to play a lot differently to Dortmund. And so it told, I thought, so many attacking moves broke down with him, with just a lack of a way to pass, a lack of real kind of drive to go for goal or create a chance. He did really struggle, didn't want to get to the byline, kept having to cut inside, slowed us down on multiple occasions. So I want to see him play more on the right, and hopefully, if we do get Robertson, that'll happen, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. You guys are giving a 6.1. Dominic Solanke, 6 all round for the big Dom. Yeah, it was a mixed day for Dominic as well. I felt like his hold-up play was decent. When he's backing into a player, he's really showing that physicality and able to hand himself even with 6 months out. So that's a positive. I still think on the ball, he's looking really rusty. And that chance fell to him, you know, point blank, header. He should be gobbling those up. You know, he hits it straight at the keeper. Either side of the keeper, that's a goal. That should be a goal. 7 days of the week. Unfortunately, it wasn't. And he lasted 90 minutes on the back of Frank saying that he's still going to need to manage his minutes and not going to be able to play over 70 minutes. But obviously, I think Frank probably thought needs must at this point and didn't want to trust Muani, and he stayed on the pitch for 90 minutes. But yeah, I like some elements of his play, but he just needs to get that match sharpness back.
Agreed. I thought some of his hold-up play was phenomenal at times. And Burnley really struggled to kind of get the ball off him when we went long to him, and he was really making it stick, bringing other players into play. I actually think, especially in the first half, he was a big element as to why we were able to be so dominant and get in, kind of camp them in, because every time we went long to him, as long as the ball was accurate, he was making it stick, and that was really positive. But when it came to, as you say, in front of goal, and then as the game went on as well, he started to, you could see physically wasn't quite at the same level. He started to struggle a bit more. And obviously that chance was big, the one he missed. That was a big moment in the game. If we take the lead at that point, it could be a different story. So couldn't give more than a 6, but I think encouraging at least.
You've given him a 6.1, so very similar to us as well. Destiny Udogi, who came on at halftime for Pedro Porro, 6 from Sim, 5 from me. I thought it was a bit underwhelming, his performance, to be honest. I think the majority of our attacking play in the second half did come down the right-hand side. I just felt like he was probably brought on to give us a bit more energy in that second half, and it just didn't really happen. I don't really remember too much that he did.
Yeah, I think he kind of struggled to impact the game, whereas Spence was basically playing as a de facto left winger in that first half, whereas Udogi seemed to be given the role of wing back rather than winger, because he wasn't getting as far forward, wasn't creating as many chances. I actually felt we made some changes and then he started to impact the game a lot more a bit later on, but I thought for the first 25 minutes or so he did struggle to impact the game positively.
You guys have given him a 6.1, so yeah, closer to Sim's rating than mine. Archie Gray, Sim gives him a 6, I gave him a 5. Again, comes on with 10 minutes to go. Probably coincides with, our best moment in the second half, but I don't think he did too much. I mean, he kept the ball ticking along, maybe a few nice passes in the middle of the park, but apart from that, I thought he was pretty anonymous.
Yeah, I don't think he impacted the game massively. Just at that point in the game, Burnley are sitting back. It's all about can Tottenham just break him down and create moments. I don't remember Gray being too much a part of it, apart from just allowing us to keep dominant and keep on top of them.
Yeah. You guys giving him a 5.5. Matisse Tell, 6 all round for Matisse. Out of all the subs, he looked the most busy, and he had that shot, which maybe he should have put the ball in the back of the net. And that's all I call it. I mean, I don't think he showed too many signs of quality, but he just looked busy.
Yeah, and he nearly scored, and that was obviously a crucial moment, and that was a good effort, and Dubravka had to be at his very best to stop it. I also thought he was involved in the goal with a really nice slick pass into Spence, who then laid off to Odegaard, who obviously crossed it in for Romero, but he was part of that move. And I thought he was getting involved, he was looking bright, wasn't losing the ball, he was making sure whenever he got it, he was getting it to a teammate and allowing us to keep the pressure on. I thought it was a decent cameo. I wouldn't say he set the world alight, but again, I think he came on and impacted the game.
Yeah.
And with 12 minutes, considering everything that's happened, I think fair play to him, but I don't understand why he's not starting at the moment, especially in this game. It was just tailor-made for him to start. He didn't start in midweek. We need a left wing on the pitch. He's sitting there ready and waiting. Why not give him a go? And I think he could have done something if he started.
It's madness, isn't it? It's absolutely madness, which we'll get into now. Thomas Frank, Sim gives him a 3. I gave him a 4. He obviously did the same system against Dortmund. He thinks it's going to work against Burnley when they're not going to give us any space. So I think that was obviously a mark against him. Another mark against him is how long he takes to make his bloody decision. We're struggling in the game. Burnley are growing in confidence. We wait until Burnley get that second goal and take the lead. It's just madness to me. Why? It just makes no sense. Why is he always waiting to go down to make changes? He's not a proactive manager, which is not what you would have thought of Thomas Frank before coming to Tottenham Hotspur. The Matisse Tell situation is mind-boggling as well. Before the Dortmund game, Matisse Tell was probably our strongest player in the forward line on a consistent basis in the last 3-4 games. He's waited until the last 10 minutes until we're 2-1 down. He's basically spat in his face, taking him out the Champions League squad, not started him in the next week after he's saying he would have started in Dortmund if he didn't take him out the Champions League squad. And then he's like, all right, go save my job for me. That's pretty much what he's doing. And I think it's ridiculous, the treatment of Matisse Tell. He should have started. We should have gone with 4 at the back, and he should have played Odegaard and Tell as the wingers. That's what should have happened. And he didn't do that. I just think his game management, week in, week out, is so poor. I just don't get it. Having said that, I thought we were the better team on the day, and we created better chances and probably should have won the game. But the way he manages each and every game is just poor, and me saying that we were a better team doesn't say much about our performances, probably says more about Burnley's.
Yeah, I think for me, when it comes to how we played, were a better team, or should we have won? Yes. Did we deserve to win? No. I think game state, when it comes to these chances created, you have to be taken into account, and the fact of the matter is we created a few chances before going 1-0 up, and then didn't create any chances pretty much until falling 2-1 behind, and then create a flurry to try and get back in the game. For me, how many chances did we create when we were winning to kill the game off? None. And then we never got that chance because our defending was atrocious. Why is our defending so sloppy? Why is it all over the place? He keeps saying how much we've improved, kind of defensively this season. Yeah, we conceding goals like we did against Burnley. If you swap those teams in terms of and watch Burnley were the ones defending, you probably wouldn't be surprised. Because we literally did defend like a relegation team for those goals that we conceded. It was absolutely horrendous. I agree with you that some of the decisions were also very, very questionable. His treatment of Tell, but also just in general, for as much as we created chances for about 70 minutes of that game, we were still pretty dross and it was still pretty hard to watch. But we did have a flurry of chances, one right at the end of the game and one after half an hour. And on the basis, people are looking at those moments saying, we created and deserved to win. I would say we should have won, but we didn't deserve to win, and we got all we deserved with how we played, in my opinion. And I think Frank has a lot to answer for. We've now not won against West Ham and Burnley, 2 crucial games. We have not beaten. We've gone 4 games without a win against the bottom 4, needing 2 last-minute draws to even get a point in those games. And Frank has also said. He said, but in the last game against West Ham, last 6-7 games, we've been creating more chances and getting better. But that's also coincided with a very generous run, has it not? Like that, is it no coincidence we create more chances when we play worse teams? Like obviously we will. It's also about winning those games and getting points. But also we haven't been playing exactly well in those games, but we have been creating more chances. Okay, so is it an achievement to create more chances when we're playing the worst teams? No, that's going to happen. That's natural. You're playing worse teams, you're going to create more chances.
Yeah.
So
we obviously played Dortmund in that run as well.
Yeah, but he said that before the Dortmund game. So, like, I don't understand the logic of him pointing that out. That it's been a bit more consistent when we've played basically all the worst teams. Fine, but that doesn't really mean much. So yeah, I'm sick of him. I'm sick of the football. Same as I said last week, but it looks like he's staying. So whoop-de-doo.
Yeah. All right, so that is our player ratings for the 2-2 draw with Burnley, and still after saying all that, it's still absolutely terrible, man. And I just can't deal with it anymore. Seriously, the games come. The game on paper seems easier and easier every week, and still we can't get a positive result. It's just absolute madness. We got a couple of super chats to get into. Where are they? Okay, so Michael Hellman says, no star signings, an egomaniac coach, and a stale board. Are we real fans or not? Frank quote. We get what we deserve and the players are spoiled.
Yeah, they probably are spoiled with how they're treated within the four walls of the club and the 5-star treatment they're getting, considering how we play and stuff like that. There's definitely a case there, but I don't think that's what's leading to what we're seeing.
Michael Hellman again says, Fabio saw a sinking ship and jumped to a different relegation team. Nah, he just got a bird, mate.
No birds in London?
No birds in London. Michael Hellman as well says, we are bottom half team. This is all cope. I don't think we are a bottom half team. I really don't.
Well, we're a bottom half team. Are we a bottom half squad? That's the question.
That's what. Yeah. That's definitely true. Bobby Stewart, big up Bobby, the drummer at Spurs, and he says Frank is effing shit. Here comes the championship.
Apparently, they were singing yesterday. I don't know what to the tune of, but they were singing Thomas Frank's football's fucking shit. Frank football's fucking shit. Or something.
I think is. Thomas Frank, your football is shit.
That's it, your football is shit, yeah. Which is a new one. Seems like they got a new one every week.
So apparently, like, from what I've heard, is pretty much from start to finish, the game was just chance directed at Frank.
Has there ever been a case where we have a support in our fan base go to the game to hate watch?
Yeah, I've seen it many times. Like I've said before to you, like those days of George Graham and Alan Sugar, that's all it was. From start to finish, it was, we want Sugar out. We want Graham out. Literally for the whole game.
So nothing's changed.
We're back in the 90s. That's what I keep trying to tell everyone. Where are we? Okay, here. Michael Hellman says Harry Kane and Son were the life support, and now it's over. Yeah, I mean, we all said, like, what's going to happen after Kane and Son?
People say we got our new Kane and Son now with Romero and Van der Ven.
Yeah. Faz says, do you trust the owners with another sacking?
Absolutely not.
We don't trust them, but...
I don't trust them at all. Honestly, they're the ones who pointed Frank. Remember, they were a 100-point plan.
Yeah. Sporific says, we have our problems and confronted them. We have our problems and confronted them. For this board, they don't. They go into hiding, and that's absolutely spot on.
Yeah, true.
Ryan Isaacs with the members chat, member for 45 months, Ryan. He says, 17th, you know the rest. We're going to Budapest.
Come on, keep the dream alive, people.
Southeast Coys with a super chat saying, this is not a squad you give Javi Hernandez or Javi Alonso. Conte had better players, and look what happened. Pochettino is the best man for a 5-year rebuild. Just makes sense at this point. I mean, Conte had Kane and Son. So obviously he had a better team because of just Kane and Son. But if you look at past Kane and Son, I think we got a better squad now.
Well, I would say so. Emerson.
But Kane and Son is a big, obviously a big thing.
It's big, yeah. But, you know, Emerson and Sessegnon on wing back, Sanchez, Dyer at the back, Højbjerg in midfield.
Like, if you did a combined 11 between Conte's team and the team we have now...
Probably have more players now.
Probably have more players, but Kane and Son are the difference.
Yeah, they're obviously world-class players.
So would you rather Conte's team with Kane and Son or this team? Probably Conte's team with Kane and Son.
I mean, judging by how badly we've been since Kane and Son are left, it's hard to argue.
But we had we have more dross in that team than we have now.
Yeah.
And Sporific says, what happened to our £150 million war chest? Connor purchase and a Brennan sale cancel each other. I mean,
great question.
Look, but like we've said all along in the window, like you can have £500 million war chest when you're in this state managed by this manager, not knowing if the manager's going to be here or not even. Like, what do we expect? Like, what player is even going to come?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the thing.
True. That's also a good point. Maybe we have a lot of money, but no one to spend it on.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into how the internet did react to the game yesterday. And we're going to start off with a tweet from the Spurs drummer, Bobby Stewart. And he's going in. He is going in. He says, Frank is a lying, delusional, awful manager. Yes, the squad has its issues and the club structure throughout certainly has its issues, but the changes are required in order from immediately to as soon as possible are sack Frank, make some decent signings whilst we still can, sack Lange and a complete ownership restructure or sell. The only way we as fans can make this happen is to be loud and voice our views. Boycotts don't work as the demand is still there to watch the team, and football is a requirement for so many people. The escapism is such a big thing for mental health. So, if you do attend games, my suggestion is simple. Buy your ticket and do not spend a penny more. No club shop, no beer, no food. Go to the pubs on the high road. Have food elsewhere, no skywalk, no go-karting. They will only listen when the money stops rolling in because we are not fans to them. We are numbers on a spreadsheet to make them money. We are loyal to this football club and they repay us with greed and ignorance. And you know what? That is big up to Bobby Stewart.
I saw him after the Dortmund game and he was buzzing. He was absolutely buzzing. Like, where did that come from? He was drumming the whole game, absolutely brilliant. It was great to see him.
I saw him at half-time at West Ham and he was absolutely dejected.
Had a whole rip through that drum.
I told you I saw him drumming down the stairs after that game to Frank Howe.
Wonder what the club thought about that.
Well, what does the club think about this tweet? But
great
it's
question.
definitely true.
I get the sentiment of the tweet, and I'm not saying I disagree, but it's also, you've got to remember, there's a lot of fans who travel from far places like other countries to come to these games, and they want to experience everything, don't they? And I understand, for us, we live and... I'm not saying they don't live and breathe it either, but obviously we're here in London, like we're literally living within the situation, and we go every game, we're home and away, and, you know, for us, it's like... we've got a tunnel vision on that aspect of if we don't do something, if we don't act, then things are never going to get better. But when you're like, I can't really sit here and tell a fan who's paid all this money to come from America or whatever other country, and they're going to the game, and like, I'm going to tell them what they should be doing. You know, when they just want to go, they enjoy the game.
But I don't think this message is for those fans. This message is for season ticket holders and people like that go week in, week out.
From that point of view, then yeah, that's fine.
Like, nobody's telling those kind of fans what to do. This is about the hardcore week in, week out fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's fair.
And also, what I would say as well to this, like, when he says that there's always someone else to fill the seat. I think in previous years that was true, but I don't think that's true anymore. I really don't think that's true anymore. Like, there's a lot of empty seats every game. So actually, if there could be a boycott and, you know, they could organise it, I actually think it would send a loud message, because there's a lot of empty seats now. Can you imagine if there was a boycott of, let's say, 40% of the season ticket holders? That would send a big message.
Would be a hell of an organisation.
Yeah, of course. You know, I think it's a big ask. I don't think it's ever going to happen. But can you imagine if that was to happen?
100%. It would send a big message.
All right. Nathan Clark says, because you see the underlying data has actually been trending in the right direction recently, but the football is still unbearable to watch and holds the same fundamental flaws it has done throughout the season. The data still really isn't good enough anyway.
So this is our XG timelines, 5-game rolling throughout the whole season, which he's made. So we were pretty decent at the start, but we've been largely crap ever since, apparently, pretty much. Pretty much from game week 9, we've been horrendous. And we have been trending a bit upwards recently, but still, in general, we concede more than we create in general. I mean, it's just horrendous, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's just horrible to look at, especially that period here between game week 9 and like 15. Look at that. That's wow. Yeah. That is like a relegation team.
Yeah, absolutely. So
there you have it.
Get him out, man. Get him out. The Touchline tweets out that the away fans are totally done with their football club. And look at this screenshot of the fans.
Faces. Oh, poor that old man with glasses there. Oh, man, he looks very unhappy.
I'm so happy we didn't make that trip yesterday, man. I really am. Footy Humour says, Spurs fans realising they could get relegated the same season Arsenal win the Premier League. Like, this has the potential to be like literally the worst season ever.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty, I don't think. I think it's just, we need to just like, you know, when you just like on Football Manager, you just go on holiday. That's what we need to do, I think.
Yeah. Paddy Power tweeting out saying West Ham are the perfect example of how playing Spurs can boost performance and morale tenfold.
Honestly.
And of all the clubs as well, West Ham.
You know, so when you talk about Dr. Tottenham as well, apparently it was Tuan Zabi's first ever Premier League goal yesterday. So that carries that on.
Literally, Dr. Tottenham just never stops. It just never stops.
Take a break. Take a day off, man. Honestly, the hardest working person at Tottenham is Dr. Tottenham.
Is Tottenham on like... Tottenham is a part of Enoch, right? Like, Tottenham came in with Enoch. I mean, Dr. Tottenham came in with Enoch, didn't it?
He's always there. He never leaves.
James Harris says, I am ready to sell Romero and Van der Ven for consistently being stupid enough to bail out this awful team time and time again by scoring themselves.
Exactly. I don't know if they're doing the right thing. There are some people who think the draw was even worse than losing yesterday.
Yeah, well, because it saves him.
Yeah, it kind of saves him.
And we don't even get anything for it.
No.
No context, Tottenham. Frank's look when we go 2-1 down yesterday, I imagine.
So paints a picture, isn't it? Dear me.
Kayla saying it's reinvented. Kane and Son have turned into Romero and Van der Ven.
Maybe they're going to start scoring more goals, 30 goals. They're going to break Kane and Son's record of goal combinations.
Gideo-Matic says he nearly broke his leg. This was Van der Ven trying to defend. Like, who is that? Is that Jadon Anthony turning him inside out? It's just like, how can you get turned inside out by Jadon Anthony? He
actually nearly did injure himself. You look at that bloody stuck in the ground. Jesus. But there you see Romero just walking as well. Just it's horrendous all round.
Spurs Express saying Tottenham have now scored more goals from corners this season than any other Premier League club. What a great job. What's his name again?
Andreas
Jorgensen, is doing. And to be honest, he is doing a fantastic job, isn't he?
He can stay.
Shades of Gianni Vio.
But yeah, he's doing fantastic. It's crazy. We are now the most goals from corners in the league.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about.
We are so heavily reliant on corners. It's just like, I said it yesterday, like we take the piss out of Arsenal for it. Like we're much more.
we're literally corner set piece FC. That is literally us. We don't even get the wins for it. We just score the goals from corners without the winning.
Just to save us from a draw or whatever. Or even just a consolation goal or whatever. Spurs Express saying, of every manager to get the Tottenham job permanently since Enoch brought to the club, Thomas Frank has the worst points per game ratio, 1.32 points per game.
Terrible.
How mad is it? Like, he is 6 or 7 months, however long he is in his tenure, and he's only won, 2 games in the Premier League at home?
Yep.
He's only got... How mad is that? How much are we paying per point?
Third highest paid manager in the league. Shocking.
Memorino saying defensively equals good at defending, and then defensively equals our top goal scoring centre backs.
Look at that. 8 goals for Mickey, 6 for Romero and 5 for Paulinho. How have we done that? How have they kept us competitive? It's nuts, isn't it, how that's happened?
Competitive.
I mean,
is this what you call competitive?
Not competitive. How has he kept us scoring, I guess, some goals?
Yeah.
Because imagine if they weren't scoring.
Yeah, absolutely.
We really would be in the relegation zone.
Neo THFC saying, telling my kids this was MSN.
Fantastic. Honestly, at what point do we just bite the bullet and start playing Romero up front?
May as well, man.
At what point?
What
When's
have we got to lose?
Happen?
Well, we've got Premier League survival. Daily Hotspur saying they aren't going to sack him, are they?
More like they aren't going to sack him, are they?
Yeah.
That's Romero's face when he sees Frank still on the job.
Chef Sarpreme saying he knows.
Who's he looking at, Dancer or Frank? Because Frank looks worried, Dancer looks angry.
I think it's Frank. Squawker saying most goals by a defender in the Premier League this season. Tottenham are clear.
Look at that, more than Gabriel, who he has been injured to be fair.
Yeah.
But still,
Gabriel and Munoz have both had long injuries this season.
But still, Romero and Van der Ven are top of the pile.
Yeah. The thing is, right, usually in another season I'll be like, wow, yeah, that's great. But like, I actually get pissed off every time a defender scores now.
Yeah, because Romero literally has to go up front to save us. It's not like if he's just scoring from corners as part of a display where we're playing well, it's like, okay, brilliant. But he's literally, it's a Hail Mary every time because we're losing and he has to go up front to save our skin. And that's obviously not a sustainable situation.
Absolutely.
You don't want Romero in those situations. He only goes there when things are going wrong. It's not a sign of things going right when Romero's in the box.
Yeah. Trevor Lloyd saying Pochettino got second place finish and Champions League runners-up, 3 top 4 finishes in 5 seasons. Mourinho got to a cup final. Conte has us in 4th. Ange Postecoglou won us a trophy and they were sacked. What is it about Thomas Frank that this board think is so unsackable? The fans hate him.
I guess they're just conflicted about wanting to go with a project and
yeah, but also
what direction we're going in.
Daniel Levy sacked all of those other managers.
That's also true.
And Daniel Levy's not here anymore.
Yeah. And
I
makes that decision
I
now?
think if Levy was still here, he would have been gone by now.
And who makes that final decision now?
I don't think there's one person that makes it.
That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
As well, because I feel like if there was, I think they might have made it by now. But everyone's like kind of unsure. No one wants to kind of take responsibility for being the guy who makes a decision. They can just pass the buck off to someone else, can't they? Whereas Levy knew he was the guy who made the decision. It's down to me, and that was it.
Chris says, this is the misery we all feel, and it breaks my heart seeing Romero and Van der Ven like this at the end of every game, man. And it literally is the end of every game.
Yeah. And Romero coming over to apologise. They look like they're sick of it at this point. He looks fuming, Romero.
But look, they both had their part to play.
Absolutely. They're part of the team, but at the end of the day, it's a collective, isn't it?
Jack Pitbrook says, Frank, your football is shit. That is a quote from the away end last night. We want Frank out and sacked in the morning, all coming from the away end.
And that's also another part of it. Is like, are we just gonna have to do this for the next 4 months? Just continue these chances. He's just gonna have to put up with it, I guess. Like what?
I love it. Every time he's asked about it in the press conference, he's like, "Yeah, I love the support today from the fans."
But it's like, what other manager has been able to? Because there weren't really chance of we won Ange out last season, so he didn't. That's not something he had to put up with throughout the last 3 months when we were losing every game. But what manager kind of has ever survived just weeks and weeks of we want him out, we want him out? Usually 1 or 2 weeks and then you're gone. Like you have that and then that's it, cut the cord. But it's now been going on for a few weeks now.
Yeah.
And how much longer can we tolerate that?
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if he lost to the North London derby?
God,
what it's going to be like there? Because the North London derby will probably be one game that will actually sell out.
And you have the Arsenal fans singing, "He's a gold silver member."
Yeah.
And then you have us saying
he can't be there for the North London derby. He really can't.
Put the assistant in charge.
No, seriously, like he needs to be gone before that North London derby because that is going to be horrific.
God.
Because they're going to beat us like 4-0 or whatever it may be.
Might be a pitch invasion.
It's just, do you remember all those years ago when a fan went at Frank Lampard?
What, for Chelsea?
A fan ran onto the pitch. We played Chelsea.
Fan.
Yeah. In the FA Cup when we lost to Chelsea. Yeah. That could happen, man.
What goes for? Well, I remember there was a famous one. Who was manager? I think it was McLaren. There was a famous one.
Chucked his season ticket.
Chucked his season ticket at McLaren. Maybe there's something. Maybe something. Well, you don't really chuck your season ticket anymore. You have to chuck your phone at him.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll happen.
I'm telling you, he has to be gone before the North London derby. Has to. Talking THFC saying, "Poor bloke, looks like a hostage video."
Javi looks so dead inside. There is literally no life behind those eyes.
Oh God, the difference between that and what he was like on Tuesday night.
God.
Talking THFC as well says, "It was time for Thomas to leave. He had seen everything."
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
That's in response to our next 5 fixtures. No, more. 6 fixtures.
Next one is the Spurs stat man saying, "Conor Gallagher with just 2 completed progressive passes today. Quite clear that he is an 8-10 and not a double pivot 6.
Yeah, if you go to the other... Yeah, so these were our kind of completed progressive passes. So not great again. Who was literally Dancer was the most. You can see... Again, like on the pitch where they're coming from, it's like so weighted down that right-hand side, isn't it? It's pretty much just Danso and Porro down that side. And everyone else, look, there's pretty much nothing coming from the middle again. Like nothing.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Every week, man. Every week. And that's it. No, there's a few more. Couple more. Pro Tottenham says, Josh Watson making a really good point on We Are Tottenham TV by saying players are only signing for Spurs for selfish reasons, and it's true. It's why we have so much turmoil in the squad. Players wanting out within a season of signing for us. Dragoshin, Tell, for example, they don't sign for Spurs to play for Spurs. It's just a shirt for them and a chance to put their name out there. A lot of them don't want to fight for the shirt. The likes of Muani, pointless player. It's what I said before. If we got relegated, do you think we keep more than 70% of this current squad? I don't. I think a lot of these players would be like rats on a sinking ship wanting out. But I think that's the same with any kind of team not going well. Also,
put it this way for people saying about how bad our squad is. If we did go down, how many of our players go for over 50 million if we had a clear out?
Who goes for over 50 million?
Porro, probably.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'd get more than what we paid for him.
I don't think so. Not if we got relegated.
Well, who should be? If we sold tomorrow, who would be going for more than 50 million? Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogie, probably all of them. Spence, probably 30. You would get 30 million for him. Gallagher, you probably get your money back for him. 35, 40.
Javi, I think.
Javi, get 50 million for him. Who else we got? Who else in Midfield? No, presumably probably don't.
We have to say, I'm not even sure that Destiny and Porro we would get 50 million for him.
I think you would.
From who?
I don't know from who, but I think that's how much we'd be demanding.
Yeah, they wouldn't get sold.
I think they would. I think City probably spend 50 million on Porro.
They had Porro, they let him go.
Yeah, but he's turned into a good player.
Who else do we get 50 million for? No one. I don't think.
Maddison and Decky were fit, maybe. Slanky probably got a good price for.
Slanky we're not getting 50 million for.
Probably get 45.
Maybe from like a middle of the road Premier League team.
My point is, there's a lot of players you'd get a lot of money for. Like a lot of them, you'd get big money for.
Yeah, and look, none of them are sticking around. That's for sure.
I'm not talking. That's not the point. My point being the point more is to do with the quality of the squad. Like how much all these players would go for. They'll go for a lot of money. A lot of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Decky and Maddison.
Obviously injuries, but in
That's
terms
the thing.
but you talk like the quality of player. Obviously, they'll be missing this season anyway. But they would.
Yeah, but injuries go into value, don't it?
Yeah, but we're just talking about. I understand that, but whatever. That doesn't. Besides the point, 'cause they haven't been playing this season anyway.
Bergval,
he probably goes. He probably demand 50 million for him.
Kudus, people are saying.
Kudus, yeah, 50 million. That's another 50 million. Gray, probably not 50. We probably have to make a loss on Gray.
Yeah, we'll make a loss. I think Gray like 30, 35, something like that. Odebear, how much we getting for him? 30 million?
30 million for him. Tell, we probably get 20.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, you'll get a large chunk from the whole squad for sure. Vuskovic, you probably get 100 million for him right now.
Vuskovic. My point being, like, this isn't a squad that's all like... Like, if, for example, if Wolves or Burnley or West Ham go down, how many of their players go for 50 million? You got probably Bowen and that's it.
Yeah, Bowen probably not even.
Not even. So how many of Wolves' players go 50?
None.
How many of Leeds' players go for 50 million?
None.
How many of Forest's players go for 50? Maybe Gibbs White, Anderson.
Yeah.
So that's my point. You compare that to us, where you got.
But I agree with you.
No, I'm just saying. I'm trying to make the point for the viewers and people watching.
Yeah.
Like it's just such a big Everton. How many of their players go for 50 million?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
In
like
Die.
Yeah, maybe in Die. Does Grealish even go for 50 million? Probably not. How many Bournemouth players go for 50 million right now?
Yeah, no, it's a very good point.
Like if you look at all this, even Fulham, they're 7th. Brentford, how many of their players go for 50 million? Like pretty much up until the top 6, you'd probably say we have the most. And so when you look at it from that kind of lens, it's hard to argue for that when people argue the squad is just rubbish. Like it's hard to argue that point when you look at it from that lens.
Yeah, true. Very true. Very good point. Spurs watch. Cuti Romero apologises to the away end after the game yet again.
Another game, another apology. Here's a question. When was the last time we didn't have an apology? I guess Dortmund, but before Dortmund.
Literally our last game.
Before Dortmund. I mean, in the Premier League, when was the last time we didn't have an apology in the
Palace.
Premier League? Palace. Should have apologised for the way we scored that goal.
All things Tottenham with the Javi thing. Charlie Parrish says any kind of football person on Tottenham's board would understand that the only times Frank's team look vaguely threatening in the Premier League are when they're chasing a game. Anyone can throw caution to the wind, and then when there's nothing to lose, it's every week.
Yep. And the problem is, we either way as well. Like when we start good and we get an early goal like Sunderland and Bournemouth, we end up dropping and not being able to sustain it, or maybe it's a change of tactic where okay, we've got the lead and we're going to drop back now and counter, and then we end up giving it up, or we start shit, we go behind, and then we try and claw it back. Yeah. But either way, whenever we play well, it's always caveated every single time.
It's true. All things THFC saying we've only picked up consecutive wins in the league once this season, and that was game week 1 and game week 2. Say it, Sim. Not cutting your hair until we win 5 games in a row.
Oh, God. Darn it, and no chance. Absolutely no chance of making that back. I wouldn't even do 2 in a row right now. Bloody hell. At least it took Hammer a year to do that, to be fair.
Spurs watch. This is post-game scenes yesterday. Bloody hell, that is loud.
Well, we want Thomas out, they're saying.
We want Frank out.
We want Frank out. Big boos. Do you think it's right, though, that they boo Frank and cheer the players? Should the players share the blame?
I think that the main problem here is Frank. I don't think the player...
I understand that, but a lot of people say the players shouldn't get off scot-free. They should also, take some accountability.
Trust me, the players get clapped at the end of the game. I think it's just because it's a message to Frank.
Right.
So they can differentiate what the feelings are towards Frank. I think that's what it is.
Okay, fair enough.
Jake says, pretty good opportunity to get relegated here. Absolutely. These are the fixtures. These are the fixtures, man. And also the Frankfurt game. They're out the Champions League. They've signed Callum Wendo, but he's not in the squad, and he's been banging in the goals for them. They don't have a recognised 9. They're out the Champions League. They've sacked their manager.
Usually these are all positive things, but these are reasons why we're not going to win.
Dr. Tottenham is creeping round the corner for that one.
God.
Anyway, Man City, Man United, Newcastle, Arsenal, Fulham away, Liverpool away. In that picture there, I only see 2 potential wins, and that is Palace and Forest. And even then, I'm not convinced.
Maybe we can sneak some draws in there. I don't know. Honestly,
I'm talking about wins here. Where are the wins coming from, people? Please let me know in the comment section.
How many points do you think we end up with all those games?
What's your point prediction?
9 games.
If we're assuming Frank's going to be here till the end
so
of it.
out of 27, I reckon we get loss. I reckon maybe draw against Newcastle, loss, draw maybe, win, 5, loss, 8, loss, I reckon. 8 points in 27, I reckon.
8 points. Where are they coming?
Draw against Newcastle, draw against Fulham, beat Palace and beat Forest.
You think we're going to beat Forest? I really don't.
I think we'll beat Forest.
They're going to come and sit deep at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and catch us on the break. You watch. We're not beating Forest if Frank's still our manager. I think we're going to lose against City, lose against United. I think we'll get a point against Newcastle, so that's 1. Lose against Arsenal, lose against Fulham. I think we'll get a point against Palace. Yeah, I don't think we're winning any of these games. Seriously. Maybe I'll be generous and say a win against Palace. And a draw against Forest. That's it. I think 5 points.
5 out of 27.
Yeah.
I think 8. 8 out of 27 puts us on 35. Should be good to stay up then.
Yeah. I think 5. And I predicted 6 out of West Ham and Burnley.
Yeah, bloody hell. I predicted 4.
Yeah.
And I was like, even that we didn't
do. All right. Next up, Billy T saying, that goal shouldn't save Frank, but it will. Bourda are absolute cowards with no clue how to act, clinging on to anything to keep this horrific appointment going.
Yeah, I reckon the board breathed a big sigh of relief after Romero scored, to be honest. I reckon they did, which is shocking to say, because none of us did. But I reckon they did.
Yeah. More Frank out chants in the away end yesterday via Chris Cowlin.
Yeah, it's just getting so toxic in these games. No one's happy. I hate the fact, though, I've seen it a lot of sentiment on social media, not from Tottenham fans, but by rival fans suggesting Tottenham are spoiled. It's the Tottenham fan base is a big problem because our expectations are too high and we're impatient and all this kind of stuff. And I think there is definitely a sense of impatience, but I also think the fans were in general pretty patient with Frank this season. I understand it's going very wrong now, but I don't think they were against him from the outset. I think I think there's just nothing watching to suggest this is the right appointment or he's going to turn it around and this is the right fit at all. But I think there was general positivity when he was appointed. Yeah, even I was saying I wasn't too happy even when we were third, but I think the majority of the fan base were pretty content when we were third place and whatever.
Including me.
It's only really, even like after Chelsea, it was bad, but I don't think anyone was calling for him out. After Arsenal, it was, again, maybe the sentiment against it was growing, but no one was saying Frank out or anything. That wasn't the general sentiment even then. I think the real turning point for him to be out, what game was it?
West Ham.
Now, I think that's when it got to like 90%, but I think when it got to like a majority, I think maybe Brentford was the real, like, that was actually a weird, the Brentford away game.
I agree with you, actually.
I think that was when it really was like...
Who did we play before Brentford?
Before Brentford was Sunderland. No, that was Palace away.
Yeah.
So I think once that Brentford, even though that was a draw, that was like a real like turning point. Okay, this guy needs to actually go. That was like the real turning point. So it took us really until the 1st of Jan for that sentiment to really grow into a majority of fans.
Yeah.
And I think that's 6 months of we've been putting up with it.
Yeah. Look, I think you're right. The West Ham game though was the point where it became untenable.
Yeah, I agree, but I don't like the sentiment. Like, we've been generally supportive a lot of the season. Like, to say it's the fans and it's because there's a toxic atmosphere and all this kind of stuff, and we're just so impatient and all this. I think it's garbage. I think Tottenham fans have been more than fair with the whole situation. I think right now it's just god awful, and for anyone suggesting that he needs more time. I haven't seen one footballing reason to suggest he needs more time.
All you need to do is look at not just the performances, but results in the last 14 games. I believe, I think 18 teams have picked up more points than Spurs.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Only one team have picked up less than Spurs in this whole Premier League. That's all you need to say. Like, if that's not sackable form, then what is? Like, we're in a results driven industry. As much as the performances are dross, you know,
on top of that,
if the results were better, you know, if we were kind of showing mid-table form, you know, it'll be a bit more palatable. At least we're getting wins here and there. But to be the 19th team in the last 14 games is a big chunk of the season.
Yeah, nearly half a season, pretty much.
You know what I mean? So like, if we're picking up basically the worst form apart from one team, like, and he's not gone, I don't understand how he's not gone. I really don't.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't heard any footballing reasons to suggest why. He just say the only reasons are he's a good manager, he needs time, it's toxic at Tottenham, all this kind of stuff. And look, there's some elements of truth to that, but at the end of the day, it's just not enough. There's not enough reason to think that he should stay and should stick around, and he's the right manager at all.
Yeah.
But there's the whole question: what would we do? And that is a great question, and hopefully we sort that out.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is the way the internet did react to the game, people. Final scores in the games today. Nottingham Forest have won by 2-0. So we are now only 3 points above Nottingham Forest in the table.
The only thing that maybe saving grace is Palace are likely to be completely tanking. So could they really get dragged into it? I think there's a good chance they could at the moment. But yes, in terms of that, Forest... 3 points behind us. Leeds play tomorrow. They're 3 points behind now with a game in hand. So it's really getting a lot tighter. It really is. You know, before we were saying West Ham, the only other teams maybe you could see maybe fighting for it are Leeds and Forest. But I think us and Palace are really getting dragged into it.
How many games have we lost this season?
9.
9.
9 of 23.
How many games left of the season?
15.
15.
Well, we just lost 2. We've only won 2 of our last 15.
So we're not going to lose 22 games.
Unless, well, if we could do, but I don't think we will.
No, I don't think we will. I think we'll pick up enough draws.
That would mean 13 losses in the next 15.
Yeah. So anyway, Forest won 2-0. Chelsea won 3-1 away at Palace. Is that a 5-pointer for you? 3-1?
No. Was it?
Sure, I'm sure you said 3-1.
I think I said 2-1.
Did I say 3-1? No, I said 2-1. You said 3-1, didn't you?
Maybe, actually. I don't know. I'll check it. Did I say 3-1?
2-0 to Aston Villa.
2-0, yeah. Good win for Villa, that. St. James'
Big
Park.
Big win. Buendia
Another
and
goal
Ollie
from outside the
Watkins.
box again.
Yeah.
I said 2-0.
Oh, you said 2-0. Any 5-pointers there for you?
No, Wilson scored yesterday, but no. 5.
Ekitike didn't even start yesterday for Liverpool.
Oh, yeah, Ekitike. Oh, wait. Brentford Forest 2-2. No. Nope, no 5 pointers. We both got 2 5-pointers yesterday.
Yeah. But it's always when we predict the same scorelines, the 5 pointers come. But look, that's enough from us today. We'll see you all tomorrow for another day. Hopefully a club announcement tomorrow morning, but don't hold your breath, people. We'll see you all then. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this 2 hours and 15 minutes of Tottenham therapy. And see you soon, people. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.